typically when I have women come to my clinic, they come to me because they don't look good. And honestly, raise your hands. How many times when you saw that you don't look good in the mirror, you want a quick fix? Right? You probably run into a clinic and say, oh, can I have a Botox right there? This thinking muscle is getting really tired. This line is getting very deep. Or those dark circles, can you give me like some super serum or mask to fix it? Newsflash, it's one of the things that almost give me the physician burnout because your body doesn't work that way. The beauty, the glow comes from within. You cannot mask away the chaos. You can temporarily, don't get me wrong, that's why my business is in business, and that's why a clinic works so well. But really, my passion was to create this talk and create the community I'm building right now. I call it Unveil You. It's to help women to reconnect with their health and to understand that you are in charge of your beauty. You are in charge of your body. And the decisions that you make every day, that's really what counts. So here is a lovely picture, and then just kind of like introduce you to stress and explain you what the stress is, because ultimately stress is not terrible. There's two ways we are responding to stress. There's immediate stress. Let's assume the situation, you're driving on the freeway, and there's some jerk cut right in front of you, you hit brakes, and you have this moment, oh my God, I just died. Okay, I'm alive. This is a surge of adrenaline you're feeling. That's how we call it in Europe, or epinephrine, norepinephrine, we call it in the United States. It's a very short-lived hormone. For people who are afraid of public speaking, that's also the butterflies that you feel right before you come on the stage. But ultimately, it's your human superpower. If you ever watch the superpower movies, I'm a big fan of that. I really like the moment when that superhero realizes they have the power, and now they can fly, or they can blast this wall, or kill some evil guy or something. So that's your moment of surge of adrenaline. There have been some really cool stories of women being able to lift a car of a child that got crushed by it, or jump a wall that was impossible for even most trained athlete to jump, just because adrenaline can put you on that state. So that's not terrible, and it is a short-lived, as long as you know how to detox after this. As long as you remember your feminine power and you're bringing yourself back to the normal state. But what I'm talking specifically in this picture is chronic stress, which is a different stress hormone called cortisol. And if you guys ever learn anything about anti-stress hormones, if you ever suffer with insomnia, you probably heard that hormone from your physician. And again, cortisol is not a terrible hormone. It's actually very important, and it's your natural cup of coffee in the morning. If you remember yourself as a child, when you used to jump out of the bed and you're ready to go conquer the day, play with your friends, you're excited, you did not even knew the word caffeine. That's your normal surge of cortisol. And then by afternoon, that cortisol slowly starts to taper off. Most kids will start to take a nap this time. And by the end of the day, cortisol is gone, the sun goes down, and now beautiful hormone called melatonin wraps your brain in this warm, cozy blanket, and you sleep like a baby, literally. And what happens to us as we go through chronic stress, that annoying cortisol stays elevated. And then we, overachievers, business women, stare at our blue screen devices, and guess what? That blue screen stimulates your cortisol and suppresses your melatonin. So if you ever had a hard time falling asleep because you're thinking about this presentation, or you're thinking about that business goal you have to achieve, that's what's happening. And if that continues for months, even years, then your face reflects it. Look at her. She's a little bit more swollen on the other side, puffy eyes, dark circles, dull skin, all that effect of chronic cortisol. So if that doesn't wake you up, if you don't want to look pretty and glowing, I don't know what else will. And then also with the chronic cortisol, there is annoying weight gain. I have so many women come to my clinic and say, oh, I'm entering perimenopause, I'm so exhausted, and I'm just gaining this weight. I basically don't eat anything, and I'm gaining weight. Well, cortisol cortisol can do that to you. Because you know, even if you eat a piece of steak and you're on this fancy ketogenic diet, the cortisol will take glucose, which is sugar, out of that steak and put it in your bloodstream. And it will stay elevated unless you run on the treadmill and burn it off, which most of us probably wouldn't because you're busy. And if you cannot burn off the sugar, that glucose, it goes exactly into your lower belly. So, we already talked about this. You cannot cream away chaos. Yes, there's lots of wonderful serums. We can talk about it some other time. So if you do have to fake it, if you have a tight schedule, you are launching the business, by all means, do it. Invest in aesthetic medicine, invest in some good cosmetic creams, but don't take it as the only remedy. Don't go to your physician and say, give me a magic pill because I want more energy. Because ultimately, you cannot glow unless you are alert. And this brings me to a very important slide here, because ultimately when I have women come to me, they always want some kind of magic fix. I'm going through perimenopause. Should I consider hormone replacement therapy? Now I'm taking hormones. Why I don't feel and look amazing? Why I don't feel like I'm 20 again? Because you do not follow the basics. And this is a foundation for everything. If you don't do those 4 pillars, nothing else will work for you. Whatever fancy other advice you got from some social media wellness guru, it will not work. So yes, whole food. It doesn't have to be fancy diet. It's just food. It actually comes from dirt or from animal. As simple as that. Water. How many of us constantly dehydrated? I know I'm super dehydrated today, but I have an excuse. I'm not in my own home and the water kind of scares a little bit. And then sleep. How many of us discredit our sleep or sacrifice sleep because we have a business goals to meet? We will do that. I've done it, right? But you can never catch up on sleep. You really can't. You lost that night of sleep, your body will remember it. And then, of course, the nervous system piece. And for us women, this is the most important part. So when we're talking about nervous system, I always try to explain the importance of daily rituals. I know we already asked the question, how many mothers here in the room? So I will talk to mothers specifically. When your child was first born, did they knew how to sleep? No. And then for any mother's sanity, we want to train that baby to sleep through the night as soon as possible, otherwise you will lose your mind. My first child, my daughter, I swear God, she did not sleep for 6 months. And I remember that zombie state, and my husband tried everything. The swaddling, the rocking, the lullabies, I mean, you get the picture. Until we found the magic sauce. It was giving her a bath, singing a lullaby, and she was finally sleeping through the night. And then I had the second child. He was completely different. He was so much easier. He didn't need all this circus that we did for the first. Why am I telling you this? Because do you think your adult body is different? It's not. It likes routine. So when I'm asking for that nervous system reset, when people asking me, what wellness regimen do I follow? Do I meditate? Do I take a yoga class? Do I do Tai Chi? Do I do journaling? I don't know. Try it. It's like putting your child to bed. You take some inspiration from, again, those Instagram wellness gurus. You know, I have kind of beef with them. That's why I keep bringing this up. I actually really hate the word wellness. So, yeah, bear with me. But take the ideas. They have some cool ideas. But don't take it as a prescription. Just take it kind of like, oh, let me try this. Didn't work? No, it kind of annoys me. You know, most people that I say, let's meditate, it actually stresses them out because people know I don't know how to meditate. But we all know how to breathe. I know you showed us the box breathing. You know, when you do that deep diaphragmatic breathing wake up the largest nerve in your nervous system, which is a vagus nerve. And that's the biggest, strongest nerve in your body, responsible for rest and digest. And all you have to do is breathe. But how many of us hold our breath and we don't do it? So the key, the recommendation is so simple. You just find your routine and you repeat it every single day. Just like you putting your child to bed. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could be 5 minutes before bed. It could be 10 minutes in the morning. Whatever fits your schedule. Don't tell me you're busy, because nobody's that busy. And you owe it to yourself to reset your nervous system, to really reconnect with that inner growth. And here's that phrase, success is a natural side effect, because it is. Trust me, when you're in alignment with yourself, you make better decisions. So everything that I just said brings me to this slide, which is the platform, a passion project I've been developing for the past year. I call it Unveil You. UnveilYou.com, unfortunately, been purchased by a very greedy person on GoDaddy, who is really trying to sell it to us for a really big sum of money. But so instead of our website is unveilyou.life, and we're still fighting for .com. So I'm just waiting for our trademark. We can actually sue the guy and get the website for a penny. But besides the point, those are 3 courses I developed. Beyond the Mirror, in my opinion, is the most important one. That's about mental health. That's improving your relationship with your own reflection. Because how many of us have beat ourselves down for making a mistake? How many of us analyze a talk you just did to, I don't know, somebody super important, and think that you might have said something wrong, might have done something wrong? That all goes into your reflection and your relationship with self. I developed this course with collaboration with 2 very brilliant people. One is a psychiatrist with 40 plus years in clinical psychiatry. And then the second very inspiring young woman, she just got her PhD in psychology. So there's a lot of ground and science behind it. The second course is sort of a reflection of what I know, aesthetics unfiltered. Because women, again, they come to me when they don't feel pretty. And this course is just giving unfiltered, unbiased, non-selling information about everything from skincare to plastic surgery. And then the third course is Aging Unveiled. So that is your understanding of your own biology, to really understand what's happening on a cellular level as you grow through stages of life. We women are incredible creatures. We are never stable. I always wanted to say women like water. We can be a frozen still, like a frozen lake, or we can be a tornado. And that state can change throughout the day. And this third course is developed to help you recognize those states and not to be harsh on yourself for it. To really understand that the days when you just want to crawl with a blanket, you probably very low on your hormones, and it's okay. Make yourself a cup of tea and try not to make too many rational decisions. And there are days when your estrogen, your testosterone is high. It's typically at ovulation if you still are ovulating. And that time you're ready to step into a masculine shoe. So you can do great presentation. You can lead teams. You can create something absolutely inspiring and wonderful. But don't demand that from yourself when you're in a different state of your cycle. It's okay. Learn to flow. Don't force it. That's how you don't burn yourself out. So I want to leave you with this. Radiance is not just a glow. It's a frequency of a woman who finally learned how to trust herself. So if you're ready to learn more, join our community. I was passing out our flyers, and we do have a 20% discount if you guys decide to purchase any courses. If you're not, there is a free platform forum that's still in development. It's really not that big yet. But as I was telling Laura, there is one quote I did borrow from Instagram, and I absolutely love it. Queens don't build thrones, they build So if you feel like you can rise alone, you are mistaken. When we support each other, when we share our stories, when we tell each other our struggles, that's what helps you to grow. And that's one of the reasons I created this Unreal You community, just to help other women to feel whole, to feel supported. Because trust me, all our stories, as different as they are, they echo with the same pain, same feelings. So I hope it's something that resonated with you. I'm so blessed to be part of this conversation of this wonderful community. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Natalia. I absolutely love the project that you're moving forward with at Unveil You. So I encourage all of you to go out and to join, whether it's through a course or at least joining the community. And as she said, that's how we all grow stronger, is by joining community, learning, and leaning on one another. So I'd like to introduce you to Tracy Jepson, who's going to be speaking on From Busy to Valuable, How to Build a Business That Runs Without You.
I let her get that pulled up, and I will try to actually go through this fairly quickly and get us back on track a little bit here. But I do have to say, Natalia, I feel very seen and attacked as a domain hoarder. So as someone who buys up all of those domains in hopes of selling them one day, I definitely don't want to get sued over it, but I probably own way too many. And if I just look over. Beautiful. I am tech challenged, so we'll see how this goes. So we all know this feeling, right? When we go on vacation and our phone rings or a text comes through. Well, I have a confession, and I don't remember the last time I went on vacation where I worried about my business. In fact, it still feels really weird to say it out loud because I never thought I would say it at all. But I own 3 companies, and that's not the weird part, though that is new also. But when I go, I don't worry about any of them. And it's not because I don't care, and it's not because they're not important to me or that they don't matter, but it's because I have found a formula that allows me the freedom for my companies to grow and run without me. And I don't say that as a humble brag, but I say it as somebody who used to wear busy as an absolute badge of honor. I thought that the busier that I was, the better my business would be, and the more important of a leader that I was. And what I have found was that I was the hub. I was the glue, I was the fixer, I was the one who did everything. And ultimately, I was the bottleneck in my business, and it created burnout. And so today, I want to show you how you can go also, like I did, from being busy to being valuable. And what we're going to talk about is what makes a company truly independent. And we're going to use the same system that I use with my clients that has been used by over 50,000 other business owners. And it is one that has helped companies grow and create actual transferable assets. Because the truth is, especially for women entrepreneurs, we are not building businesses. We are building dependencies. And the thing about dependencies is they keep us really, really busy, but they don't make us valuable. So let's talk about why so many of us actually feel trapped. Value Builder has analyzed more than 50,000 companies, and the data shows us that when the owner is the hub, that they are the one who is answering every single client email, they are the one who is making sure that every single client experience is happening, that the value of that business drops dramatically. Because here's the truth, if you are the system, there is nothing to sell. If you are the customer service department, if you are the head of marketing, if you are the sales team, you're the person who knows every single password and every single workaround. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Your smiles tell me that it does. It's exhausting doing that, we are building companies that don't allow us to breathe. One excuse that I hear all of the time from clients, and if I am really honest, this was my excuse as well. I don't have time to hire someone right now. I can't bring someone on because I don't have time to train them. And what that translates to is that we are too busy working in our business in order to actually build the business. But here's the catch. Every single hour that you spend training somebody to do what it is that you know how to do, you will get days of your life back in the future. Every time you document a process, and we talked about this earlier when you were talking about SOPs, this is such an important thing that every owner tries to avoid. The process gets simpler every single time that task has to happen after the documentation. That is the magic of systems. That is what turns chaos into clarity inside of your business. It is what makes your excellence repeatable by actually documenting it. So here's the shift that I want you to make. I don't want you to be the hub. I want you to be the architect, the person who designs the business, the person who designs the programs, the systems, the one who helps create the business so it can run. Architects aren't walking around on site swinging hammers. They are the ones creating the blueprint, and as a business owner, it is your responsibility to create that blueprint. The processes, the systems, the rhythm of how everything goes, that is your job. And the reason is so that way your company can function beautifully when you are not in the room. Because the real freedom doesn't come from working harder, it comes from designing systems smarter. Everything I am going to talk about today is grounded in the Value Builder System. The Value Builder System was created by best-selling author John Warlow. If you have not read his book, Built to Sell, I highly recommend it to all of you. He has a couple of other books, The Automatic Customer and The Art of a Sale. They're all excellent books, but in this framework, he actually analyzed 50,000 privately held companies, and what the data showed was that companies who were owner dependent, the ones where the owner was answering every email, where all of the customer experiences were going through the owner, the value of those companies dropped significantly. And so what he wanted to understand was what actually made businesses valuable and not just profitable. Because there's a huge difference in a valuable business and a profitable one. A profitable business might not be sellable, but a valuable one absolutely can be. So with this system, how do we know what exactly makes our business valuable? That is where the Value Builder assessment is going to come into play. I like to think of it kind of as the foundation of this system, and it's to help the owner understand exactly where your company stands in comparison to everyone else, and in comparison to where you would like to be. It's going to be an assessment that's based on these 8 key drivers that influence your company's worth. And whether you ever plan to sell or you just want a business that actually gives you freedom, this assessment is a little bit like a wellness check for your company. It's going to show you where the cracks in the foundation are. And those who take this assessment, those who receive scores of 90 and above, are twice as likely to sell, and those companies are twice as likely to get offers that are twice as high as any other. So it's the same effort, the same business, the same concepts, but more valuable and definitely sellable. And so today I am going to focus on 4 of those 8 drivers, and they're going to be the ones that directly impact time, freedom, and growth. Because this is not a hustle culture that I want to participate in. I want a company that is going to let me actually be free. And the very first topic, the very first driver that we're going to go through, because I am a numbers girl, is going to be recurring revenue. And if that makes you cringe because you think recurring revenue is just another buzzword and your eyes want to glaze over, I will tell you that it is a quiet power move of any business. Recurring revenue is going to be the thing that actually ability to make decisions. One story that I love is a company called H. Bloom, and if you are not familiar with H. Bloom, they are a luxury floral company that works with high-end hotels, corporate offices, other event planning companies that want high-end florals every single week delivered to their locations. And traditional flower shops operate on hope. I hope somebody comes in today and buys a bouquet. I hope that Valentine's Day or Mother's Day saves the month of sales. Also traditionally, 50% of what they bring in inventory is thrown away. So it's expensive, it's wasteful, and it's not predictable. And it's very difficult to scale a business that isn't any of those things. So what H. Bloom did is instead of trying to be traditional and not understanding where they were going, they focused on relationships. And they built relationships that automate every single week. So all of their flowers were planned ahead. They knew exactly what they were going to be delivering from week to week, and they were already paid for in advance. Their waste dropped from almost 60% to 2%. The lifetime value of a client went from $24 to over $4,500. It completely changed the game for florals and for their bottom line. So instead of waiting for customers to come to them, they had them automatically without guessing. Same flowers, completely different business model. And here's the takeaway from this. We want your business to become predictable. Predictable isn't boring. Predictable is incredibly sexy in a business. It's sexy to prospective buyers and investors because they want predictable cash flow. Buyers want something that they know is going to be repeatable and that somebody has a desire for. And it is sexy to your nervous system because you are not going to be wondering from month to month where your sales and where your revenue are coming from. She just talked about how we want to lower our stress. I would be really stressed if I didn't know next month where my revenue was coming from. So in the last several years as well, we have seen so many different industries besides flowers go to the subscription market. I think everything from leggings to car washes have gone to subscriptions. I mean, how many subscriptions do you guys have? All of the different online apps, networks, all of the TV that you watch, everything is on subscription. And it is not because these people just want to be like everyone else. They are actually focusing on their end game. They are doing the one thing that will make them valuable the fastest and ensure that they are profitable. So what I want you to think about for your own business is, what do clients buy from you repeatedly? Or what should they be buying from you repeatedly? It could be a retainer for ongoing support. It could be a membership that grows community, very similar to Entreprenista. What in your business, and I want you to write down a quick win of what you could sell in your business that could be repeatable. You're not just selling time anymore. You are selling access, and you are selling results. We want to be creating an experience that takes the customer beyond one single transaction, but gives them something to expect month over month. And the minute that your guys' revenue starts to become repeatable, your stress is going to start to shrink, and that is when your business starts working for you instead of you working for it. So take a second and write down at least one item that your business could be selling on a repeatable business. Again, it could be that retainer, a membership, a quarterly check-in. What could you sell that's reoccurring? And even if you are a product-based business, something could be reoccurring. The second driver we are focusing on is productization. Anything that we can use to help productize what we do. And here's the thing, most of us started out by selling our expertise. How many here are service-based businesses? Most of you. There's a cap on selling what your brain can produce. There's a cap in time, there's a cap in your ability. One-on-one calls take up only so much time as well. It's exhausting and it's incredibly hard to scale. And when I say productize, I don't mean take something and put it on a shelf. And you may say, I'm a service-based provider, I don't sell a product. And this is exactly who I am talking to. Because productization isn't about turning your service into that box on a shelf. It's about turning your expertise into something that's tangible, teachable, and scalable. Something that's repeatable, that doesn't require you to reinvent the wheel every time you deliver the service. Because the problem with most small businesses is that everything depends on you. You are customizing every proposal, every email, rewriting and tailoring every package to bend to what that customer needs just to try to make it work. And that might feel like really good customer service, but what it means is that you're building a business that doesn't run when you are not in the room. Productization fixes that. It's going to take what you already do, it's going to take your brilliance, and it's going to package it so that way your client journey has a structure. It's going to turn your how into a system that someone else can follow, deliver, and sell for you. Because right now I'm guessing that most of you are doing all three of those. And when we think of it this way, if reoccurring revenue is sort of about creating consistency in income, productization is about creating consistency in the delivery for clients. When everything that you sell has a very clear name, a defined process, a defined outcome, people can now visualize your service and they understand exactly what it is that they are buying. Elevator pitches get to go away because you are selling one specific thing. You are selling a solution, and solutions are what people buy. So, for example, if you're a consultant, you can say, hey, I help with strategy. Or you can say, I sell a 90-minute strategy session with a very specific outcome. My client is absolutely going to know what I sell if I'm telling them that that is the package that I'm selling them. Strategy can have so many meanings. If you're a designer, instead of saying, oh, I make websites, you could say, I do a done-for-you brand in a week. Which one of those do you want to buy as a consumer? Which one makes more sense to you? It's easier to describe, it's easier to sell, your marketing becomes easier, the way you talk about your products becomes easier. It's just simpler. It is clarity and confidence and boundaries around that product all rolled into one. Because how many times do we get scope creep? Because we've sold a specific type of session or something that has a very vague ending to it. One, because we're really good and we can do lots of things. Because most business owners have this great brain and they want to share all of these things with their clients. And scope creep is one of those things that happens to everyone. Until you now have a very specific container that you are selling them that has a start date, an end date, and they know exactly what they're getting delivered to them in that package. It's also something that your team can go back to and point to the client and say, these were our objectives and this is what we have done and this is what we have hit. It's a very clear way of staying on track and it keeps those boundaries for you. It also helps your team to deliver all of these services without having to guessing what your owner magic is. If one of my team members wanted to go deliver a service that we do, they're going to be able to because Tracy's magic doesn't have to be there. It is already developed and it is already built into what they have been trained. And so we're going to be able to scale without losing quality because everyone is playing from the same playbook. And from a buyer's perspective, like I said, this is a dream. They know exactly what they're getting, how long it takes, and what to expect. It also builds trust before you ever get on that call because you're going to be able to speak so clearly to the thing that your website says that you do. And so I want you to think about what is one thing that you do really, really well that produces results every single time that you do it. And I want you to write that down. What is that one piece of magic that you have in your business that every time you deliver it, you get results, you love to provide it, your clients get something out of it, and you can recreate it every single time? That is your starting point. That is what you should package first, give it a name, create a process, make it visual and make it real. Because when you productize, you're not just creating an offer, you're now creating freedom. Right? You're creating freedom because you're no longer customizing every single thing that you do. level of clarity in our products and in our services. The other thing that happens is pricing becomes easier. How many times are we creating proposals for clients and we're like, well, it's kind of a little bit of this one that we did with X, Y, and Z company, but they kind of now want this other little thing. And pricing becomes really difficult because we're guessing. We have no idea what it is that we're actually going to be doing, and we're kind of throwing a dart at a wall going, I think it's this number. And then all of a sudden when you start looking at your hours in that service or in that container with that client, you've now way overspent in your time, you're not profitable, and you're probably stressed out. These containers or these productizations of your services make it very clear and easy, and you know exactly how much time that you or your team has to put into it in order to deliver the service. I want to give you an example. So a photographer who offers headshots, does weddings, photos of newborns, that is really, really hard to scale. But what if that photographer switched it up and they said, I am going to only do headshots for women founders on LinkedIn who hate being photographed. All of a sudden, that photographer can not only create that package, know exactly what it takes to produce it, has a very clear target of who they're selling it to. Can you imagine the marketing around that? And to be able to hire photographers in other cities to sell that exact same thing underneath of them, he can hire employees all over the country and scale only that one product. His elevator speech now sounds very, very different, talking about LinkedIn headshots for women founders who don't like to be photographed versus, oh, I can do your wedding, and oh, then when you guys have a baby, bring him in for his newborn shots. Like all of a sudden we're talking about all of these things when we can get really clear and really specific and we can scale on one topic that we do really, really well. So for your quick win, I want you to write down one service that you can deliver the same way every single time, and that with the right training and systems that someone else could follow it as well. And because sometimes this can be challenging to think about, I want to give you a couple of other examples. This is another brand photographer. What if they did a done-in-a-day headshot experience? Again, we're not talking about the 75 things that we can photograph, which I'm sure they can photograph really, really well, but we can sell one package that is very clear, easy to talk about, and easy to market. If you're a bookkeeping firm or a lot of advisory firms, we have those here. What about a monthly clarity package? Something that has very defined outcomes. It's a scalable system that has a very clear scope and that your team can hand off and do this for you. Skincare clinics. I think we have one of those here. An at-home maintenance kit. Online courses. These are great kind of packaging. After clients in studio treatment. Curate products for that specific treatment for an additional outcome. Productize it, maybe even make it monthly, so make it reoccurring as well. Our next driver, and I know that this one tends to sting a little bit when I talk to small business owners, but this is customer diversification. If you have one client who makes up more than 15% of your revenue, you are building a business with a built-in stress fracture. Because when a client sneezes like that, your entire company is going to catch a cold. I have seen it happen. Because it's not just about losing the revenue, right? It is about losing your confidence to make decisions in your company. You start building your schedule, your systems, your team around one client. And all of a sudden, you are now the person being managed. I had a client of mine, oh man, this one was hard to watch. She was a marketing company in Chicago. Her revenue was about $600,000 on an annual basis. She worked with a lot of great national brands, but one national franchise firm of hers was about 45% of her revenue. One quarter, that corporate office got new leadership, and they pulled every single vendor contract. Overnight, this company who had put team members in place, who had bought systems, who had created processes specifically for this one client, she was no longer breaking even. And it's not because she wasn't really, really good at what they did. They had just invested so much into this one client that she essentially lost everything overnight. Diversification isn't about replacing that one big client. It's really about creating balance. Because the goal is that no single customer of yours has the ability to ruin your day, your month, or your ability to pay your mortgage. I have seen so many business owners, they want to start small, they want to have this freedom, and they'll have a handful of clients. And if one of those clients leaves, it is financially devastating to that business. Making sure that you are diversified in who you are working with is incredibly important. So your quick win for diversification, and this might take you a second to kind of think about, but I want you to write down your top 5 clients and what percentage of that revenue does that mean for you? And if you don't have 5 clients, or you don't know what percentage of revenue that is, I want you to think of the name of one client that you work with, and if that client makes you sweat thinking about them leaving, this is the very first place that you have to start in fixing your company. This is the place to focus on. I remember having that client, and I know exactly who it was at the time, and thankfully, we balanced out before we ended up sunsetting that relationship because frankly, they were just taking up too much of our time. Our 4th driver, owner independence. So most business owners think that if we start a business, we're gonna have what? Freedom, right? But what usually happens, we have now built a job that probably has a more difficult boss than what we had when we were working. I know I'm harder on myself than anybody I ever worked for before. And if we're being honest, if you own a company that can't run without you, you don't have a business. You have a job with overhead. And that's really hard to think about, but it's true. True owner independence means that your business can operate and generate revenue without you being there. So your business may be able to run without you. It may not fall apart or crash and burn if you step away, but can it still make money? Can it generate new sales and new revenue without you? This means your team, your systems, your numbers, nothing else takes a break when you step away. And again, this isn't about disappearing. This is about designing a company that depends on your leadership, not on your labor. And when your business can do that, it becomes scalable, sellable, and sustainable. And the goal would be to train somebody to do what you do at least 80%. Because the other 20%, that is what makes you an incredible business owner. That is your creativity, that's your strategy, that is your magic, that is your relationships, that is your zone of genius. We are not pulling that from you. The owners get to keep that. But it's also something that's going to be shared through your culture. But we want to be able to find somebody that can do 80% of what you do. Because if that can't happen without you, you are the bottleneck in your company. One of my clients, she ran a law firm, and she had every contract, every client phone call, every email going through her. She said, Tracy, I can't grow. I, of course, didn't believe that. And we started documenting her SOPs and her processes, and within 6 months, her associate was taking on 80% of her work, which freed her up, and unlike what she thought, where she thought she was going to lose clients, she lost none. She thought she was going to lose revenue. She lost none. She gained so much time that she actually grew her revenue by 25% and didn't spend another hour working than she already was. It gave her time to actually be the architect in her company and not the bottleneck. So, when everything lives in your head, your business is not transferable, it is trapped. So, I want you to think of one task as your quick win here, to write this down, what can you record yourself doing, a task in your business that only you do right now, that someone else with the right training and the right systems can take off your plate, and I want you to commit to documenting it, delegating it, and committing to not taking it back. Because that part is the key. You might be able to delegate it all day long, but you can't take it back. That one step in documenting is going to teach you more than any productivity hack ever will, is getting it actually off your plate. Now, I want to zoom out a little bit because building value isn't about selling your company someday. It is about having options. Value Builder also did a study that they called their endgame study, and 8 out of 10 business owners are thinking about selling their business, which is actually a higher number than I imagined because the most business owners I talk to don't even consider selling their business. However, very few of them knew how much they needed to be able to exit or when they could actually do it. And it is a fact that every single business owner, every one of you, will exit your business. And it's going to happen in one of a couple ways. You're either going to sell the business, which is what we're talking about. You might hand it off, pass it down to a next generation, to a partner, someone else, give it away. You might close it because it's not profitable, or you want to move on to something else. You also might just want to go on a vacation for 3 months to Italy, and you're going to step away from it. Or you're going to die. And I don't want to be morbid about the last one, but what happens to your business when any of those things happen? If you think about it, what would that be? And unfortunately, I have seen that last one happen very, very recently. I have a very dear friend who lost her husband 2 months ago. He had an incredible business. He did rock chip repairs, so like when you get a rock chip in your windshield, they can do the repair and then without having to get the new windshield. And when he built this business, he had always intended to build it to sell it. So the benefit was that while she was lost her husband tragically, unexpectedly, she's not having to close his business. His team is able to field leads. His team can sell the service. They can perform the service. So while she has just had the most tragic point of her life, they are not losing the income to that household because of his business. The catch with this story is not only do they get to keep his business, but she's a business owner as well. So she has been able to step away from her salon for the last 2 months without interruption. I was in that salon last week. Her company has grown. They have brought on interns in the time that she's been away. They have added clients. None of her clients missed appointments. They were all absorbed by her staff. So not only was his sustainable and continuable, but she was able to step away from her business as well. If you had a tragic moment in your life with a spouse, a child, parent who tragically passed away, would you be able to step away for 2 months from your business without interruption? So when we say that everyone is going to leave their business, you will absolutely leave it at some point for some reason. And I would just ask, could you continue to support your family with your business when you are gone? I believe that true wealth is having the freedom to do whatever you want and whenever you want to do it. And that is where we want to get with your business. So let's make this really real. I want you to pull out your piece of paper again, and I want you to write down these 4 drivers that we had: reoccurring revenue, customer diversification, owner independence, and productized services. And I want you to score yourself 1 to 10 on these. 1 being crash, burn, we do not exist, and 10 being I am such a rock star in this area, I don't even need to talk about it. And your lowest score is where you need to start in this process. so I talked a lot about this assessment and value builder and how it can be beneficial. If you scan this QR code, this is going to take you to a free assessment that you can do. And you can start it and stop it. It's going to ask you for financial information. It's all confidential. It will only come to me, and I am going to give you this report for free. I sell this for $500 all day long to clients, just the report itself. It's going to give you every single gap in your business. It's going to compare you to others in your industry using your NAICS code. If you are one of our VIPs, you should have something in your bag that is also a free 30-minute call with me to walk through your value report in detail. You'll also have a card. You can grab it off the table if you can't get this, but you can stop and start this assessment at any point. But this is going to tell you exactly what to do and what to fix inside of your business, so that way you can have the life and the freedom that you actually want. We definitely want to start building something that's valuable and that can run without you. Thank you all. I appreciate your time. And thank you, Laura.
All right, thank you so much, Tracy. I'm going to turn you all to go and grab a bite to eat for lunch. So we're going to take a 45-minute break. During that time, of course, get something to eat. I know some of you that have the lunch tickets. There's lunch set up in the back, outside, and also some waters. And also, if you haven't already, go around and continue visiting with the different sponsor tables, learning about them. And you have a sponsor, it's called a sponsor passport card. Once you have that completed, come put it in the box up here. We're going to be doing a drawing for a gift card later this afternoon. And I think that is all for now. Go out and enjoy. Thank you so much. Great. Well, good morning, everybody. Before we kick it off, I would like to encourage you guys to move forward if you would like to. Kind of maybe sit closer to the first half of the room since it's a little empty. Give you guys a minute or two if you want to move forward. There might be an incentive to doing that.
That's me, literally. Yeah, I know.
All right, and before we kick it off, I'll just let you guys know that I'm sure you've seen that there's a little pink bag under your seats. Leave those for now. Those will instruct you a little later this afternoon, okay? So don't walk off with those yet. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I first off want to thank you for coming to the Bold Women Conference. Thank each and every one of you for being here, not just for yourself, but for each other. Today is about celebrating those who are leading and building new paths for one another, not just yourselves. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Laura Navaquin, and aside from being a mother and a wife, I as well am an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, and the founder of Inspire Her Foundation, which is a 501c3 that encourages you to go after their goals and dreams by providing them education assistance, skill set workshops, mentorships, and health advocacy. So this conference, the Bold Women Conference, was really born off of a simple idea. And that was, when we come together, we can really create something, something big. Oh, I'm sorry. courage, and taking action. So whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or to find the next partner or opportunity, I hope that you leave with two things, and that is with community and ultimately being inspired. So first off, again, thank you all for being here today. I'm going to welcome Michelle Danio to the stage. She's going to be sharing with you how to focus and simplify 2026. I can't believe we're already there. 2026 to best set up for a positive new year.
Yes. It does, honestly, it doesn't matter. It's the information that we're about to hear. I will adjust there. Yeah, that's fine. No big deal. Okay, perfect. Okay, so everybody have their worksheet? I'm not a slide presenter kind of girl. I'm more of a worksheet, workshop style. Let's dive in, take some notes, get it done. So there is, because we only have 25 minutes, one of the things that I did is I had, this worksheet is actually like 3 or 4 pages long, but I wanted to just keep it simplified for today. So if you want, you're more than welcome to scan the QR code. It is down on the bottom of your worksheet as well. And if there's a full training, I've pre-recorded the training so that if you want to revisit it, you absolutely can. So again, my name is Michelle Danio. I'm a business growth strategist. I work primarily with those in the growth stage that are in that, I like to say, that now what stage? Now what? Where do we go from here, right? And I really truly believe that there are very few things in business that actually move the needle forward, and that's what I want to talk about today. Is really how do you simplify, how do you get focused so that you can grow without burning out and in the most profitable way possible. So first and foremost, simplify. First step, let's simplify down what is actually working in your business, okay? This is not really about trying to fix anything. What I see a lot of times with business owners is they're always trying to fix something, right? And that's just typical marketing, right? How many times have you seen marketing where they're like, oh, is this not working for you? Or are you not doing this, right? They're always focused on what is not working, and so they're always trying to create a fix. Where what I tend to look at is what is actually working in your business, because there is data in your business that's telling you exactly what's working, and if you can double down on that and do more of it, you can scale faster, you can scale more profitably. So in each, I love to break it down into 5 key areas: clients, marketing, sales, offers, and time. And when I look at clients, I look at it from a place of like, who are your dream clients, right? Like, what is working? What's drawing in those dream clients? Not just paying clients, but dream clients. The ones that you get excited to work with, the ones that really light you up, the ones that are seeing that massive growth. Really, where are they coming from? Oh, that's a very quick. Where are they coming from? That's what my favorite 5 words I tell all my clients. Every single time you get a new client, I want you to ask yourself, where did they come from, right? Because that's going to tell you exactly what's already working in your business. What did you love about them? What's making them an ideal client? And looking at it from your past, let's say 5 clients, what exactly do they all 5 have in common? For the most part, if you really take a look at that, you're going to see and find that many of your ideal and best clients have a lot of similarities. It's either how they came into your business, where their place that they're at in business, what they're trying to achieve, do they have similar values, right? That's what you're really trying to identify here is what are those similarities and what is actually drawing them in and how can I find more of them, right? Marketing looks at it from a place of what's bringing in time, what's costing you time versus results. A lot of times what I see is people spend so much time and energy on marketing efforts that aren't actually bringing in the results. So again, if you ask yourself that question of where did they come from, that's going to tell you what marketing is working, right? Are they coming in mostly through referrals? Do you have really great referral partners? Are they coming in from social media? Are you spending all your time on social media, but all of your clients are coming from networking, right? So social media may be like a top of mind awareness, but it might not be your top of funnel. And so really looking at where are you spending your time, versus what is actually driving results? What is actually bringing the clients in? What is actually getting you new leads, new prospects, new opportunities, new offers to speak, right? Where are you spending that time? And this really is more about, I have a lot of clients say to me like, but I love hanging out on Instagram. That's fine, like you can love hanging out on Instagram, but if it's not necessarily bringing you and driving the results that you're looking for, is it the best spot for you, right? Like you can still love it, but if your clients are all coming in through referrals, we'll just spend a little bit more time nurturing your referral partners, less time on Instagram, and you'll probably get more clients. I actually had a client, real quick example of this is, we were going through this in the end of year, because we always do the year-end program, and she said, I said, where are all your clients coming from? She's an attorney, she sells contracts, and she said, my affiliates. And so when we really went and dealt, and I was like, well, why are you spending so much time on Instagram if you literally have affiliates pouring in all these clients to you, right? And she said, I don't really know. So we put this insane affiliate program together to really nurture her affiliates, for her to stay top of mind, and she grew her affiliate income by 750% that year. So, I mean, really just from spending more time on what is actually driving the results, right? And that was a complete profit margin for her because she wasn't doing anything to acquire those clients. They were all coming in from referral partners that used her services and needed her services and just sending clients to her, right? So again, marketing is a big one. It's a really big, this is where I see a lot of people spend a lot of time and it's not necessarily netting results, and that's what's creating that burnout. That's where they're losing profit in that perspective. And then sales. Sales looks at, for me, is like, where is your sales process working and where is your sales process not working? Where are leads falling off? Are you doing a really great job at marketing and you're bringing a lot of clients into you, but they're not necessarily converting, or it's not converting as high as you would like, or it's not necessarily, they're not necessarily converting to the offer that you would like, right? So where are you losing leads? Where are they kind of falling through the gaps? Is it in your follow-up process? Is it in your nurture process? Looking at it from a place of like retaining, how are you retaining clients? Do you not have a retaining, like a retainer option or a loyalty option, or keep something that keeps them coming back? That's what you want to look at. What's working in your sales process really well? Like, you know, if you get on a discovery call, it works really well, but maybe you're not necessarily getting as many people to the discovery call, right? So really looking at it from that perspective, from in a sales, is what's working, where am I actually losing? So again, if you know you convert best through discovery calls, what are you doing to do more discovery calls versus sending them a proposal or sending them to your website or something like that? Does your sales process have a small gap in it that really you can just fill that little gap and double down and convert more sales just by simply changing your process? Offers, I look at offers from a place of like, which offers sell with ease? How many of you have so many different offers, and we all have an offer that we absolutely love, right? And then there's other offers a lot of times what I see people tell us to create. I was having a conversation with somebody, she was like, somebody said, you should start a podcast, right? Okay, if it works for you, right? Like if it's in alignment, but if you don't have an offer and if you're not really passionate about your offers, or if it's not an offer that you get lit up about, and we outgrow our offers. Sometimes we have an offer and we outgrow it. But I look at it from this place of like, which offer do I love to execute on? Which one can I sell with ease? Which one can I talk about all day long? I never get sick of talking about it. I love it. My clients are getting results. Versus the offers that are like, I have it, I can do it, I don't love it, it doesn't necessarily bring me in enough profit, but I still talk about it. Really from that perspective. Or maybe there's something off in your offer and you are really passionate about it, but for some reason it's just not selling and you don't know what that is. That's what you want to look at. And is there another one that is selling and you don't know really what the difference is from there? So that's what I really truly look at from offer perspective, is which ones light you up, right? Confidence sells. And this really is always all about looking at the data, right? Because our emotions can cloud our judgment a lot of times, but the facts tell the story. So when you can make decisions off of facts and not emotions, it's going to tell you exactly where your business is making money or losing money and making money. And then time. Time is obviously, for me, one of the biggest, the biggest leaks for most people in their business. Where are you actually spending your time? Where are you spending your time well? Where do you find that you're losing your time? Where do you feel like you're getting sucked into a rabbit hole or something where you're always having to reinvent the wheel? A lot of times it's technology. I'm sure the Go High Level people here see this all the time, right? You're just sucked into this rabbit hole of trying everything together, not necessarily, things aren't working well, and that could be contributing to some of your sales, right, as well. So looking at it from that perspective, where are you spending your time well, and where are you spending your time that's really not converting to something, or it's not netting you any results? And again, results look different for everybody. There's no specific exact result that you have to get from your time. It could be, you know, that looks different for everybody, but it's really to your business, what does it look like? And where are you losing time? Where do you see that time slipping through your cracks? You may not know that. It may require you to spend a week looking and doing a time audit. And I think that that can be very beneficial. It's one of those things that nobody wants to do because it's not really the fun thing to do. But it's going to tell you exactly where you're utilizing your time well and where you're actually, like, maybe you don't necessarily need to be spending your time. So, and once I go through that, once you kind of have that, I look at it from a place of what do you need to keep and what do you need to let go of. Subtraction is a strategy. Less is more. Subtracting things, getting rid of things, letting go of things, that is an incredible growth strategy. It's not always about adding more. It's about simplifying, doing more of what is already working, not continually adding to your plate, adding to your plate, adding to your plate, right? So where do you need to let go to truly simplify your business? And then once you've simplified, I look at it, I call it the defining your North Star, right? Like get laser focused in. You know what's working, the facts have told you the story, you know exactly where you want it, your offers, you know where your clients are coming from, what marketing channels are working really well for you, and then how can you make sure that you stay really focused? And I look at North Star, a lot of people set goals, right? And a lot of times they're revenue goals or something of that sort. But I look at it from a place more from an emotional standpoint. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? What's really important to you? What is the revenue, if you hit the revenue goal, what is it going to allow you to do? What experience is it going to create? What freedoms is it going to give you, right? And creating that focused North Star so that every decision that you make in your business becomes a clear yes or a clear no. It's either driving you closer to your North Star or it's moving you further away. This can be as deep and as emotional or as specific as you want. Right now I have a client that wants to take her family of 5 to Disney. That's a big investment for any of you that have taken a family of 5 to Disney, right? And so it becomes that North Star is so clear to the point where it's like every decision she makes in her business, she can run through that filter of like, does this get me closer to bringing my family to Disney or is this just a distraction? Right? Because it's easy to say yes to a lot of things. It's easy to feel like things are like a really great idea and this sounds awesome and let me go with this idea. And for those of you that are ADHD, I do work a lot with the ADHD neurodivergent community. They're full of good ideas, right? And they're full of good ideas at 3 in the morning. And so, but really looking at like just being able to run that idea at 3 in the morning through that filter of, is this going to get me closer to where I'm actually going in the direction that I want to take my business and the impact that I want to have and the outcome that I'm truly desiring? Or is this just a distraction? Is this a detour? Is this what's going to kind of take me off path, right? So I really look at it from that perspective. And then a couple other questions that you can ask yourself is, what do you want to be known for? How do you want people to introduce you? How do you want people to think about you, right? And are you making sure that what you're doing is keeping you in alignment? And a really great example I can give you on that is that a lot of times people introduce me as, hey, you need to meet Michelle, she knows everybody. I do a lot of networking. I've been in business for 8 years. I've done over 100 coffee chats every single year that I've been in business. So I have a massive network, right? But I don't want to be introduced as a power networker, right? Like that's how people think of me, which is great. But I also want to be known as a business strategist, right? And so what are you doing to create that so that when people introduce you, when people think of you, when people are keeping you top of mind, are they keeping you top of mind for the right thing versus just versus something that you're really good at, but it's not necessarily what you want to be known for. And so that also can play a big role in that filtering process of like, if I do this, if I say yes to this, is this keeping me in alignment with what I want to be known for, or is this going to, you can take, everybody got this slide, right? Or if you wanted the QR code, you got it? Yeah, we're good. You don't have to keep putting it up there, it's fine. There's QR codes on the bottom too. So yeah, really looking at, and like, how do you want your business to feel every single day, right? Like, when you get up, how do you want your business to feel? What do you want it to look like? you want it to feel a little uncomfortable? Do you want it to feel like you're in that growth stage, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I have several clients that like, I want to feel a little bit of discomfort every single day in my business because discomfort means I'm growing, right? And that can be very, very powerful where other people are just in that place where they just want to feel content. They just want to feel at peace. They're not in that growth stage. They want it to feel kind of just content. Like everything's running smoothly. I'm not growing. I'm just execution, right? That's going to look different for every single person depending on where you're at in your business. So really getting clear on that North Star is going to continue to drive you as you move through and make decisions and look at into 2026, right? Keeping that North Star top of mind is just your decision filter. That's what that's really designed to do. And then growth. Once you have that North Star, it's like, okay, now what? What are we implementing on? What actions do I need to take? One of the things that I really always encourage everybody to look at is understanding the different seasons in your business, right? There's various different seasons, and a lot of people try to live in all the seasons all the time, right? They're always in an operations season, they're in a sales season, they're in a visibility season, they're in a client delivery season. It's very hard to operate your business in all of those seasons all of the time. So being mindful and really looking at, I try to break everything into 60-day periods, right? So it's 2 months. For the next 2 months, for the next 60 days, depending on where you start your 60 days, but what season am I in? Am I in this operations season where I'm in creation? I've got to work on the back end. I've got new workflows. I want to really hone in on my client onboarding process and automate this and simplify it so that things start running and moving a little bit smoother because you just took on a lot of clients. Are you in a season of visibility where you're trying to increase awareness, you're trying to build new connection, get more reach, really stay top of mind, expand your audience, and really get very visible so that because you maybe have a new launch coming up or a new product going out? Or are you in a season of like, I've done all the visibility, things are ready, I've got the operations lined up, and I'm ready to start converting. And so your season becomes all about sales, right? I'm in this season of conversion and sales and conversion. And really understanding that those seasons all go, they usually run in a cycle. Your operation season is going to lead to a visibility season. Visibility leads to sales. Sales usually leads to client operation or client delivery and back operations. Obviously, you always want to be in some type of sales season, but again, if you're at capacity, you don't necessarily want to continually be selling and trying to draw new people in when you can't keep up with the current capacity that you already have, right? And so that might mean that you just need to spend some time in the operations. And again, this is only about 60 days at a time. This is not about staying in these seasons for 6 months to 12 months. You're talking a couple months, really focus in and just get super focused in so that you know exactly what you're doing, what you're working on, and there's no distractions, right? The distractions are where you start to lose your profit. And so every distraction, you've got to look at it. Is this costing me time? Is this costing me money? Right? So when you can get super focused in on what season, like I know I'm in a visibility season, it's not so much about sales, I just want to create as much reach as possible. Might be a podcast tour, a speaking tour, getting super active on social media, whatever that looks like, visibility for you and your business. But what does that, if you're in that season, you're just really trying to create reach. And so then you set your focus, you set your goal specifically around visibility or specifically around sales, that type of thing. And that's where you're going to plan. And this, you just keep repeating this, right? Like when your 60-day ends, you kind of look and see where you're at for the next 60 days. What season do you need to continue being in for that next 60 days? And you set your focus, your intention, and make sure that it's in alignment with your North Star and also in alignment with what's working, right? With all of in those first steps. So you kind of have this system now where it's like simplify, grow, focus, and grow, and you just keep looking and making sure that everything that you're doing is in alignment with what's already working, what we know to be true, what's in alignment with where the direction that you're currently going, and then making sure that you're staying super simplified with that growth, and that you know exactly what you're focused on based on the season that you're in. So that's my simplified system for increasing profitability in 2026. And I think, yeah, I'm good.
Okay, well, thank you. That was great, Michelle. I know that I can
guys get to know each other a little bit better. I'm going to share a little bit more about my origin story and how I used it to sell and how you guys can do the exact same thing in your businesses. So this is going to be basically 3 steps you can take on growing your business with your book in 2026. Now, I want to know how many of you have already planned you want to write a book next year. I know I'm writing 2 with our company. We got 1 right there, 1 in the back, another 2 right there. Can everyone else put up your hands right now? If you did not raise your hand. So you guys, I'm talking to you for the rest of the day. And I'm going to be showing you exactly why you should change your mind on that, okay? So one thing I want to dive in with you guys first is owning your own origin story. So no matter what business you're in, agriculture, I heard that today, I heard the metaphysician today, there's a lot of different industries in this room. Whatever industry you're in, I'm going to show you how owning your origin story is going to be the #1 reason you're going to want to translate this book into your business, because essentially, no matter what I say today, I could give you guys the best tips on selling books or the most valuable marketing advice for your business, but unless you connect to me personally, you're probably going to glaze over and leave the rest of your day saying, wow, she seems like she knows what she's talking about, but I don't really relate to her at all, okay? All of you guys have an origin story. All of you have a moment in your life, in your business, where you said, aha, this could work, or oh, I know I don't want to be with this toxic boss anymore, I want to get out of here. That moment you said, I know I need to be an entrepreneur. I know it's something of value to add. So I want you guys, if you have a notebook, a phone, a computer, take a minute right now, and I want you guys to write down your origin story in 3 simple steps. Who were you before? You can write 1 word. For me, it was insecure, mental health challenges, homeless in my 20s, to what changed, deciding that I have a voice and something important to say, and 3, what came after. So that for me was, I'll share a little bit more, but essentially becoming Miss Utah USA, Miss Ireland, and then the director of Miss Grand USA. So we'll dive into my story a little bit, but right now I just want to take a moment on yours. Who were you before? What was the changing point in your life? The moment, and you might still be in the middle of your origin story, right? You might not have already had the aha moment, but you might be knowing, okay, here's where I'm at right now, and here's where I know I want to go. So just write that down in 3 words, before, during, after. Doesn't have to be a whole paragraph. I'll give you just a minute to do that. If I don't see you on your phone, I'm going to stare you down. It's a small enough room that I can do that today. I can look you right in the eyes. So what I want to share with you guys is this story, this before, during, after. This is your credibility for anything you're doing. Any industry, any goal you have for your business, this story is your credibility. And now you might be saying, well, I don't want to tell you my whole story, right? There might be pieces you want to leave out, but I want to show you that maybe some of those pieces are actually the reasons people are going to want to work with you. Because humans don't necessarily want your pain. They might not go to their doctor wanting to hear their whole life story, or go buy their new tree hearing their whole life story. But what I'll show you is your pain is actually the path through it that became your transformation, and that's why people are going to trust you and trust coming to your business. So for me, what this looked like is, I grew up in Provo, Utah. I grew up Mormon, or LDS, if you guys have heard of that. Very conservative, a lot of great family values that are still matter to me. I'm still a believer in Jesus. I just took my own slightly alternative path to find my own faith. I actually tried to end my life when I was in high school. I struggled a lot with just the culture that I grew up in, not feeling like I belonged, just feeling really disconnected, and also just grew up with domestic violence in my home, like definitely just a lot of things that didn't work out in my favor. So even though I came from privilege, there was a lot of difficulty that came with that. So I became Miss Utah USA when I was 24. I was the first openly bisexual Miss USA contestant, so that was obviously why I was very confused with my faith and a lot of things that I was dealing with at that time. As Miss Utah, I helped ban conversion therapy in my state, so addressing state legislative, speaking just like I am today, sharing my story and saying, hey guys, like maybe let's not torture gay people, even if we don't totally agree with what they're doing, right? You don't have to like torture us. And then from there, I also helped raise over $1 million for LGBTQ youth. And like I said, I'm still a believer, still Christian, just had my own unique way that I found Jesus in my faith. So from there, I girl bossed a little too hard and became Miss Ireland because being Miss Utah apparently wasn't enough for my self-esteem issues, and decided I had to achieve more, had to accomplish more. And then I became the director of Miss Grand USA, and I led the organization organization from 80,000 views to 800,000 views, which you might not have heard of Miss Grand USA. It was a smaller pageant when I first started with them, but Miss USA, the most popular pageant, had only 500,000 views that year. So, again, girl bossed a little too hard. Oh wait, can someone bring that back? What did I do? Oh yeah. Okay, amazing. And now, I am a keynote speaker. I've given a TED Talk on mental health and kind of my journey finding my way through self-esteem issues. And I'm publishing 2 books with my own company. It was a big reason I actually joined this company was because I knew that I had a story to tell. As you can tell, there was a lot of probably questions you have from the story I told just today. So I am publishing 2 books. I finished the first one. It's a poetry book on domestic violence. That will be coming out in the next 6 months or so. Sharing just a little bit more about toxic relationships and how that obviously impacted a lot of my story with my own parents struggling with that. And then I'll be publishing another book that's kind of the memoir of how I found my faith again, how I found my relationship with God again, and also how I overcame living with chronic suicidal thoughts. So telling my story is actually what helped me win. I competed for Miss Utah USA for 7 years before I won, which was a very long time and a lot of rejection. And it wasn't until I was just honest. Oh, thanks. Help. Help. Okay, so it wasn't until I was honest about just who I was and what I was living through that I was able to win. And now some people say, oh, maybe that was like contrived. Like, did you talk about your sexuality to win? Did you talk about your mental health to win? Partially, because it worked, but it was also true. It was also true. I was also trying to figure out, what I was going through with my sexual identity at that time in my life, and also just trying to work through my own mental health at that time. So did I have it figured out here? Absolutely not. That girl had no idea what was going on. But I was being honest, and it helped immensely with winning the goals that I had set out for myself at that stage in my life. My goals have changed a lot, my identity has evolved a lot since then, but I don't regret any of this because that allowed me to be of service and it allowed me to connect with people, and it's part of why you guys are listening to me today. That being said, now a lot of my goals have changed. What I'm really passionate about now is just helping people to find their self-worth, to find their self-confidence, and for the women in this room to share your own story. Yours might be totally different than mine. My story might have scared you off, right? But at the end of the day, you know me better, right? You know me better, you can connect with me better. And whatever your story is, it's gonna be the reason why you connect to your clients, right? So there might be some people in this room that are like, I don't wanna work with her now. That's okay. It's totally fine if I lose a couple clients over that. What I know is that more people are gonna come up to me saying, hey, I had a cousin who went through that, I had a sister who went through that. Like, maybe you could help me figure out what, how I can help them. So more likely than not, you're gonna find people that are gonna relate to you better. They're gonna wanna talk to you. At the very least, you probably wanna go get coffee or go shopping because I got cute shoes. There's something there you'd wanna relate to that you wouldn't have maybe thought of when we first walked in the room. And so for there, this is what I'm gonna tell you. Ooh. Help. I don't know if I'm asking for help. I'm like supposed to help myself here. But what I'll say is a book is the #1 way you can articulate authority with your story. Because at the end of the day, if I just talk about all the sad things that happened to me, you'd be like, okay, well, thanks for being vulnerable, but like, how's that gonna help? Now, if I have a best-selling book about the things that have happened, that turns my experience into credibility. And being a #1 best-selling author is one of the best things you could do to walk into any room and have people listen. Booking speaking engagements. So I've been a speaker with TEDx for actually, I think that was like 8 years ago now. So I've been a paid speaker for a long time. A big reason I'm publishing 2 books next year is because I know I can double my rates as a speaker. And again, that applies in any industry. Being a best-selling author will help you double your rates as a speaker. And then from there, it's also free leads. So another thing that we're talking about, I know everyone's trying to figure out how they want to grow their business. One, if somebody looks you up and they see you're a best-selling author and they see reviews about your company, what are the odds that they're going to trust you better than they did before, right? Way better than just seeing an ad online. I know for sure if I read your book, the odds of me wanting to work with you are probably immensely higher because I already took the time to hear your story, connect with you, and learn your expertise, right? You guys might have a very specific expertise that I don't have. Once I've read your book, I'm more likely to trust you with that, right? And so from there, it's also free leads because it's something you can hand out. Like right now, we're handing out books in the back of the room right now. You can come grab one of those after. We have a few left. And that's going to sit on your shelf forever. So the moment you're ready to write a book, you're going to see us staring you down. I know we were talking about this, staring you down like, oh, selfpublishing.com, okay. Like that's who I want to reach out to. The best way I can describe it is it's basically a luxury business card. Because how often, if I were to hand out business cards, would you probably throw it away before you even left the room? What are you going to lessons in terms of exactly how we're gonna grow your business. This is the meaty part, but now you already are trusting me, you're listening to me because I was vulnerable. So again, this is gonna be telling you a little bit more about how owning your story is gonna be the difference maker in your business. So essentially, when I say own your story, I mean both metaphorically and literally. I wanna know who you are, I wanna know how you got to where you are in your business, but I also want you to actually literally own your story, because things have changed a lot in the traditional publishing space. We'll get into that in a second. I'm also going to show you how to write your book. So I know some of you said, okay, well, like, I know I want to write a book. Did everybody get a mind map already? You want to pass this out? That'd be great, thank you. So I'm going to show you literally exactly how to start getting into this process almost immediately, taking all these ethereal ideas that are floating around in your brain, and a few simple steps to actually get started to write it, and then how to launch it, because I know we're not in this room just to talk about our feelings, we're here to make money, right? So like that's the most important part, is how do you actually turn this all into a profitable piece for your business. That's a great thing that I'll get into in just a second. Okay. So self-publishing versus traditional publishing. So once upon a time, you needed a traditional publishing deal to have any book of substance. That has completely changed over the last 10 years. With Amazon right now, more people are publishing than ever. Our company alone, our CEO, Chandler Bolt, is on the Forbes 30 under 30 list because our company has been part of this transformation. You don't actually need a gatekeeper to tell you your voice matters. You just have to decide for yourself that it does. And the stats and numbers actually back that up. So Big 5 publishers account for only 16% of best-selling ebooks, okay? So not as much as you probably thought when you walked in the room. Just doing a quick little intermission for you to write some notes. About 45% of author earnings go to traditional published authors, which means a large majority of your profits, if you go traditional, are not going in your own pocket, which I don't like. I think us girlies need to get paid. And then also, authors are earning 70% of the profit from books when they publish themselves. Right now, the average author sells less than 100 copies of their book, even if they go to traditional publishing. So the main differences with traditional versus self-publishing, so distribution, royalty rates, cost to publish, time it takes. So we can do this a lot faster, we can do this a lot more efficiently. We can also help you with just keeping all of the royalties. So when you work with us, there's an upfront investment, and then from there, all of the profits go in your own pocket, which I like. Also, once upon a time, even like traditional publishers, you really had to be a celebrity to get their attention, right? You already had to be kind of known. These days, you can self-publish, get a best-selling book, and if you want to go the route of traditional publishing, you can. You probably won't want to because you'll start to see those checks coming into your own pocket. But you certainly can because you've already gathered their attention by being a best-selling self-published author. So like, I might do that, right? If my poetry book goes extremely viral and I'm getting $200,000 offers up front, maybe I would do that, right? But I certainly want to start with self-publishing so I can establish myself as well. And also, I've built my platform on social media already, so I have like 130,000 followers on social media. I've already built my own audience. I have like 100 plus press articles about me. So why would I want to give away half my pocket if I don't have to, right? So these are just some things to consider as you're thinking through how to actually write your book. Okay, so did everyone get a mind map? Put that in there, thank you. Okay, so what I want to do is do a little exercise. So first of all, some of you are like, I know I want to write a book, but I don't even know what I would actually write about. So I want to know, what are the broken record conversations you're having with clients every week? What is the pain point that comes up with them, your area of expertise, and this would be a time you can write this on your phone, some notes. What is the broken record conversation with every new client or prospect? I know for me, even working in self-publishing, I am helping people with imposter syndrome. I'm helping people overcome their fear of using their voice. So these are some of the ideas that come up in every single conversation. But what I want to know is, what is the special sauce that makes you different? So why should people come with you? What is it, that differentiator in your own expertise? And then also pain points or triggers that cause people to do business with you. So again, pain, human. It's a human thing. And that people are coming to you because they have a pain point, right? So you don't need to dwell on pain, right? But you can show them, hey, here's the path to get through this. And here's me as a kid. One thing I found through the practice of telling my own story over the years is that I have a lot of things that I just shared with you guys that used to fill me with crippling shame and make me not want to get out of bed every day. I have zero shame on these topics now, and honestly, I'm making great money by being open about them. And again, it's not some like super manipulative, evil plan, it's just being honest, but it works, right? So whatever your pain point is that you've overcome in your own life, there's definitely a path for you to actually put that profit in your pockets and let it go and let it be part of your mission here and your story of how you're gonna help other people. And it really doesn't matter what industry you're in. You could be in business, science, law. At the end of the day, everyone's coming to you because they have a pain point, and figuring out what that is essentially going to be what sets you apart. So when you're able to own your story, again, physically, literally, metaphorically, that's gonna be how you put your past into profit. All right, so for the mind map, what I want you to do is put down just kind of your general big idea in the middle, and then take a minute to just kind of fill out the little lines of anything that comes to mind around you. So for example, mine might be like mental health. That's kind of like something I'm really passionate about. So then I'd probably go through like childhood trauma is one, and like my parents' divorce is another, and just different things that helped create my own story in terms of how I overcame that. So I'm gonna give you guys a minute to do that. Yours can look totally different than mine. This could be something that I have no idea about. We got taxes, we got, I don't know, fraud detection. Whatever it is, put that down in the middle and take a minute to write down some ideas. I'm gonna give you guys like 2 or 3 minutes to do this. I'll be meditating over here while you do it. Alrighty, feel free to take a few seconds to wrap that up and dive into this more later. So essentially, what you just did, never mind, you can keep writing. Okay, so essentially what you just did is each of these categories are pieces of your outline. Simplified, easy to organize. You can start to put these into different sections. And from there, you start to break that down into your rough draft. So your mind map, you maybe spend 10 minutes on. Your outline, another 10 minutes, putting each of those categories in order. And then you write, you sit down, just kind of taking one of those categories at a time. Sit down and block off an hour to just write about it. And that's freestyling, that's not editing yourself, that's just getting it out on paper. Or if you maybe maybe if it's easier for you, you're more oratory, like if it's easier for you to speak, you can actually just sit down and start to speak these ideas out, voice record it, and then from there you can transcribe it later with AI. Again, quite easy. Does everyone feel like it's maybe a little bit simpler than you thought in terms of writing a book? Can I see raise of hands? Yeah, maybe not quite as complicated. In fact, it's actually so easy an 8-year-old can do it. We have evidence of that. The Fairies of Waterfall Island did 4K in book sales in 3 months. She was able to raise money for autism awareness and has had major press outlets as well. So again, if an 8-year-old can do this, I'm pretty sure everyone in this room is capable of writing a best-selling book. She had 10,000 people at her first book signing. So speaking of 10,000, we're going to show you how to successfully launch with $10,000 in royalties at some point. Maybe. Okay. So the most important parts for a successful book launch would be, first of all, having a great book cover. So that's something that we do for you at selfpublishing.com. You don't have to worry about that. Because as we all know, we do judge books by their cover. As much as we would like to say that that's not how the world works, it is. We all make snap judgments. So we want to make sure your book is extremely high quality. And so that's something we cover for you. We do all the formatting for print and ebook. We do a beautiful cover design to catch people's attention. And then from there, we're also going to help you build a launch team. So we have access to a community of 1,500 other authors to help you with your launch. In case you didn't know, right now there's about 5,000 books published on Amazon every day. So unless your book is in the top 5 to 10%, it's really not going to get that attention long term. That's why a lot of people, when they go fully on the self-publishing route, they are very disappointed. They don't see the outcome that they're looking for. So this is something that we'll actually help you with. So essentially, if you come to work with us, you get paired with a best-selling author. They will be your mentor through the process, and they're gonna help you build a launch team, which is using our community of authors to order your book in advance, to read it in advance, order it right when it launches, and then leave a review within the first 2 weeks. So essentially, we have a system to get you genuine reviews. They're not bots. They're real people that have taken the time to read your book, and that's using the power of community. And then we also want to keep those ongoing reviews coming so that the algorithm's happy. So essentially, your job is really to bring your expertise, your story, your life, and we're going to help you put it all together into a very clear concept that sells. And so when you follow these steps, I mean, these are just some of our authors, self-published, now featured in Barnes & Noble, 60,000 copies sold, 32 million downloads on podcasts. Some people, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, whether you should have a book first or a podcast. I would say book, because if you want to be on podcast, then you have something to sell when you're on your podcast, right? So what's the point of creating your whole voice out there and then you don't have anything for them to order? So this is going to be, really the best path for you. And this happens with all of our authors, not all, sorry, I don't want to be clear, not all. So many of our authors find that their speaking calendar is booked almost immediately once they have a best-selling book. I mean, I can think of some that had 20 engagements booked their first launch, just because it's something of credibility to kind of help for events like this, right? They want to say, hey, we have someone of notoriety coming to speak there, they're a best-selling author. It helps a lot with selling yourself, which helps a lot with selling your business. And from there, we have women that are generating, Kate was $20,000 her first webinar. So just the amount of success that I've seen with this, it's honestly changed my perception as well. Again, it's a big reason that I went from focusing a lot of my attention on my social media to now wanting to write books in 2026, because as a younger millennial, I honestly kind of thought, like, do people even read books anymore? And I grew up loving reading, okay? So I read a book a week as a kid. I loved to read. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten away from that. I'm more on TikTok, right? I don't want to admit it, but it's true. I haven't read as many books as I used to. And so when I started working with self-publishing, I was honestly curious, like, does this really work? Is this really going to work? And the truth is, more people actually bought books last year than ever before. So the stats say that's completely untrue. And I also find the majority of people that I speak with that are calling in to talk to me, it's because they actually found us through our book. So the numbers and the evidence is there, and for me that's like, okay, this has just changed everything for me, because if I already know I'm getting paid X amount to speak and I can double that, that's going to be pretty good for my pocketbook at the end of next year. Check back in with me. I'll let you know. And so from there, these are really the main secrets. Is first, I want you to own your story. I want you to own your truth. I want you to be proud of the work you've put into your business, into your education. You all had a story to be in this room today. You've all been through a lot to be here. Maybe even this morning, who knows if there was traffic on the way in. But you all have overcome so much to have the success that you already have. So why not own it and use that as evidence or credibility to help others in their journey, or as they're finding you with their business. And then also, let's just write it, okay? So I know that can be the hardest part. You're like, how do I make time for that? I'm so busy. I have, 12 kids. I have 12 businesses. I'm jealous. I'd love to have some kids, but, time will come. But I'll say, most of the people we work with are, full-on CEOs of corporations that also have families, and they're still able to do it. So the time thing, it can feel overwhelming, but that's really what we're here to help with, is to make it much simpler. We have one author, Mike Acker, who came to us with a corporate job. He was really looking to find, just ways to get out of the corporate life. He really wanted to leave that hustle and develop, to have credibility for himself. And so he wrote his book. He woke up at 5 in the morning and wrote it in an hour a day before he went to work. He finished his first draft in 27 days using our system. Because again, we're just breaking it down for you and making it so simple that literally an 8-year-old can do it and has done it. So that's going to really help. It's totally doable to get your first draft done in 30 days, 60 days. And to have, to be going into your book launch early next year. And so from there, selfpublishing.com, essentially we do a lot of the busy work for you. So we get your book cover finished for you. We get your inside layout and formatting done. We do your ISBN registration. We set you up with worldwide distribution, so you don't have to worry about that. We do all the publishing for you. We get you SEO optimized, so you're actually ranking on search engines and on Amazon. We do all of that for you. It's super fun, and we get to write your book description for you. And then we also handle all the publishing, but of course you are still the publisher, which means you get to keep all of the ownership to your book, which again, I like to have as much money in my pockets as possible for something that I put in the effort for. And so from there, if you're writing a book in the next year, who maybe changed their mind? Can I see a change of hands to somebody who maybe, yep, we got one back there, another one. You may be thinking, okay, this is actually a little bit more doable and it might help me out. We got another one, there you go. I see some sheepish hands coming up. The room's not that small, I can see you. And so from there, yeah, I mean, I'd say come to the back. We have a few more copies of our book that shows you exactly how to do this. Again, luxury business card right there, proof and case. And so we've bought these books for you already. You can come grab a copy for free. I'm not going to sign it because it's Chandler who wrote it. He usually puts this in there, but I will if you want me to, I guess. So if you're interested in writing a book in the next 6 to 12 months, just take out your phone really quick, and you can just take a quick picture and schedule a strategy session with me. Some of you guys ask, I get this question a lot, like, can I actually do this today? Yes, I will actually be taking a few meetings today and then a few into next week, so you are able to actually book with me. We can dive right into your book idea and get into an exact strategy for you to be successful. So feel free to scan this. You can also come chat with me because I'm right there. So you can come talk with me while I'm still here. And then from there, we do actually have an event-only special, so you save $1,000 if you do sign up today. And that is on the link when you click on it. Maybe? We made it so close. We made it almost to the end. Yeah, it stopped working. Well, that's okay. You can just scan this. Essentially, one thing I'll just say, you know, most of us ask, okay, well, like, this sounds good, but like, why now? And I would just say, honestly, like, you all have a story to tell, and the world needs it more now than ever. If you haven't noticed, it's a little bit crazy out there, even just flying in here this weekend. So, you know, I think there's honestly never been a more important time for people to kind of actually own their story, be confident, and help others do the same. I mean, as women, we're so prone to struggle with imposter syndrome. It's like the #1 thing I think most female entrepreneurs struggle with. And so I'd say, you know, you owning your story is going to help somebody else feel empowered to do the same. I know for me that's the case. It took me a lot of work, inner work and therapy to get to where I am now. But at the end of the day, I know it makes a difference in other people's lives every single day. And they feel more confident with things they're going through. Oh, we're back. Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah. I know that, you know, they're going to feel more confident because I've shared that. And your clients are going to have more confidence in you when you share that as well. And so like I said, we do have an event-only special. You can come ask about it if you're interested. Just as you're filling this out, select our specific event. Scroll down the list to make sure that you qualify for that. And yeah, I would just say, you know, the world needs your story more than ever. It is your brand, whether you like it or not. It's going to be the thing that differentiates you from, you know, the other people in your industry, and it's going to be why people connect with you. And your authentic voice is honestly the most important thing you can add to your business. So thank you, and come say hi to the booth.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel. And after all, you know, they say people buy from people that they know and they can relate to, so why not have a book telling your story? Because there's so many people out there that can relate to your story, even if it's something that you don't necessarily feel is relatable to the masses. You'd be surprised that once you start speaking to people about something that maybe felt so personal to yourself, how many other people have a similar or relatable story as well. So thank you so much, Rachel. Now I want to invite up Gabriella. She's going to be speaking about the 5 pillars that every businesswoman should know in order to lead and scale with power. Hello. Good afternoon. How are you all? Good. Good. All right. It's a lot of information. We've really taken in a lot. I know I have. So let's start off by standing up for a little bit. I want you guys to kind of shake it off a little bit. Stretch. I feel like we all need it a little bit. You know? Perfect. Now I want you to guys to close your eyes. Join me a little bit and just close your eyes. Think about really launching your business, being successful, getting to a place where you feel
comfortable, of value, of success, and have peace. Now take a deep breath and hold it. For count to 5, deep breath through your nose. Hold it for 3. 1, 2, 3, and release through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. In for 5. Hold it for 3. 1, 2, 3, and release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. All right. Go ahead and have a seat. Happy to be here with you. Happy to serve you all today and talk about 5 really key points, pillars that I have seen successfully work and be essential pieces in business. Whether you're growing to your own financial meaning of success, whether it's global growth, fast scaling growth, whatever that means to you, and it means very different for many people. Here's a little bit about me because it is important to know who is speaking to you, who this person is, that person's story. Executive summary, always important to share so that you all know in case you did not chat GPT me or Google me or have done business with me before. 20 plus years as a global CHRO and Chief Operational Officer, 6 Sigma certified, bachelor's in psychology, and a master's in IO. So that means I know people really well, which has helped me tremendously in business. So not necessarily always a huge advocate of having to require a degree for whatever it is that you want to do. But any sort of master classes or courses in psychology, I do recommend. You're doing business with people, you need to know people, you need to feel comfortable speaking, learning their story, connecting, and that is what it's going to get you. I'm a leadership, career, and women empowerment coach. In the 20 plus years in corporate business, many boardrooms that I've sat in have all been led by women. Very rarely a woman. In my corporate journey, I was always mostly the youngest person in the boardroom. And I asked a lot of questions. And that is honestly what I feel everyone should do. I feel like a lot of times we get embarrassed for asking questions. It might feel a little stupid or we don't know. We don't know. And I can assure you that the most successful companies and CEOs don't know what they're doing. They're figuring it out. I'm talking about, I had the privilege of this week being with Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, right, Jamie Dimon from Chase, figuring shit out as they go, right? So if we're talking about really small business owner trying to figure it out, you can do it. You really can. Forbes Coaching Council scaled 500 plus brands. I was the co-founder and business partner for a company called Accelerate. We then branched off to OpenBots. It's an AI and RPA company. Scaled it globally. So I've got about 15 years when it comes to like the AI space. Talk a lot about that, and we will. And now I'm the CEO and founder of HRBP Plus Global Edge Partners, which focuses and helps businesses grow and scale, whether it be in the US or global, right? We do a lot of business overseas. I myself have people overseas. And it's a lot easier than when we think. You just gotta do it in a compliant way, so you don't get sued, right? And the IRS doesn't come get you, because they will. hardest thing ever, right? Having to ask for help was so hard because I felt like I then had to be in debt to that person, family included, right? But you will not be able to scale and grow unless you do. It's your network, whether that be family, friends, colleagues, whatever you choose your network to be. You won't be able to grow and scale without it, right? I grew up with seeing my parents, who were immigrants, come to this country and watch the struggle firsthand. They wanted to start their own business. They had wonderful ideas, a vision, a passion, hustlers. Truth. And with that I mean because when you're a hustler, you have a great idea here, then you see somebody do something else, and it's like, oh, that's a good idea. I want to move over here. Oh shit, they're making a lot of money. I want to do that. That's working, right? Hustle mind is like you're really chasing things because you want to be up there, but you just really don't know how to do it. So, getting ready, going to school, talking about elementary years, my parents, distributing newspapers, and I'm sitting, laying back in the back seat, sometimes coming out, helping them, and then going to school. Watching them start a company. Ups and downs, struggles, right? And then really jumping into my corporate adventure. And seeing that it's not so different, even for the big boys. Right? It's a struggle, it's a hustle, and that's when it really kind of clicked on me, and that's when I started really coaching women, because the men were such risk takers. Unapologetically risk takers. Don't give a damn. Let's shoot the shit. Let's see if it works. And women, it doesn't look so perfect. It doesn't look really good. It doesn't, you seek for perfection, and I'm guilty of it too. And we're so stuck on the website, the aesthetic, the message, the people. We're not taking the risk, we're not doing it. And while we're not doing it, others are. And then when you say, okay, it's ready for me to jump in, they've already been there, done that, moved on to the next thing, and now you're like, oh shit, now I gotta refix my brand. And you're always gonna be late and trying to chase. So, we're gonna start off with the non-negotiable number 1. Clarity of vision. So, when I talk about vision, I mean, where are you going? Very often we confuse it for our mission and our values. How we're doing it, why we're doing it, all matters, truly. But where is it that you want to go? Because a lot of times when I have business owners come to me and they say, I want to grow, I want to scale. Are you ready for that? How do you want to grow? How do you want to scale? You're ready for it, I'm going to hold you accountable and we're going to do it. Well, what does that mean? As parents, as a single mom, as a woman, right? In a relationship, you don't have to have kids, just in a relationship. Whether you do now or you will later. It's going to mean prioritizing a lot of moments, and you can't be everywhere all at once. When something is going extremely well, whether it be personal or business, the other thing's going to be off balance. You're not always on balance in everything. So when I have a lot of people, even then in staffing, come to me and say, I'm looking for work-life balance. Well, what does that mean to you? Where are you in life? Are you ready to grow super quickly and get promoted? And are you chasing that salary in order to get to your wherever you want to go? Or do you want to cruise, chill, and be comfortable? There's no wrong thing, but you really need to know where you're going. heard a little bit about that North Star. So not only is clarity of vision important to you in your journey, whether it be in business, as an employee, whatever you want to do, but for the people you're going to hire if you are a business owner. Your mission is going to change. Your values hopefully don't change, but they may, really depending on, shift of mind. We're changing and evolving as humans. So that may look different. But where you're going should not change. You should have a vision. And I'm not talking about, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm sorry, that's bullshit. Things are changing constantly, quickly. When I was scaling a business in AI, you think it looked the same when we were in January and talking about Q4? Q2 looked different. So it needs to be short term, but you need to know exactly where you want to go and be able to shift it, communicate it, and be transparent about that. To yourself and to your people. The second one is people and culture. You don't build a business, you build the people who build the business. So many people want to be leaders. It's a lot of work to be a leader, a good leader. Not a boss, not a manager. Many of us can be girl bosses. Not a good leader. What typically happens in the corporate world when you're now entering that leadership phase? You're either, that's the next step up because you're gonna get promoted because you just manager now, right? That's like the next mandatory required pillar to go to. Or you're really good at what you do, and then your boss says, I need you to lead people, right? And replicate that. Because you're really good at what you do, does that mean that you're a good leader? Most of the time not. Why? Ego gets in the way. Fear gets in the way. A lot of self-doubt. That's where you see leaders taking credit over things they didn't do. That's where you see a lot of leaders feel threatened by the people they're leading or they're managing. So that requires coaching, that requires training, that requires identifying who can be the leaders that will help my business grow. You may have a great idea, a great vision, a great product or service. You hire great people and they kick ass. But you now say, okay, I need you to help me lead that person that was a badass salesperson or whatever they were doing can be the detriment of everything else. You really need to step out and be able to see that. And in order for that to happen, the hardest thing, and this is something that Eric Schmidt was talking about this past week, do not and you cannot surround yourself with yes people. So hard. Because we're self-doubting ourselves all the time. We're questioning ourselves all the time. So sometimes we call that girlie or that friend, can you believe this is going on, right? And then that person's like, oh my God, and then they will down and really validate whatever you're feeling. And validation feels good. It feels good. But it doesn't mean it's right. It may not be what you need. So even the former CEO of Google was talking about when you want to search for the facts, you need to continue searching and searching and searching, not for answers that validate your thoughts, but for the true facts. And that is key when you're leading your people and your culture. We're talking about the culture, what is invisible, what your people feel. That's where your mission and your values really
and you invest in onboarding and training. I mean, listen, when you're onboarding and you're starting to hire people, a bad onboarding experience can really increase turnover by 80%. Simply by bad onboarding. What does bad onboarding mean? I need to really hire this person. I need them to start. When they start, you don't have their email ID, you're figuring it out as they get started. And to you, it's like, it's okay. They know it's a startup. It's like, we hustle and we do these things. But to them, it's like, it's a startup. This is not certain. This is not secure. This is not giving me a good, safe vibe. We're going to kind of check it out. But if it doesn't really work, I'm going to be kind of searching over here by the side to see something better comes my way. So right then and there, you're losing people. The third one is compliance and risk management. I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs will hire a contractor or contractors and think that's like the best. I have people working, they're getting the job done, it's easy, you're not filing your taxes, but you're also not paying taxes. So if you don't do it right, if you're not really classifying these people correctly, and you terminate them, and they get pissed off, they're calling labor attorneys, and they're suing you. Could be up to $15,000. What does that look like for a small business? It can make a profit. And that's simply because that's when it happens. I've had clients that come to me and they're like, yes, we've got 20 contractors, this is what, I just need you for growth. And then we start really diving in, and we're like, oh shit. You're giving them vacation, you're telling them how to work, what to do, all of these things. It's employees, and but why are they going to be upset? We're giving them vacation. Yeah, but they're also paying their taxes. You're not doing all this stuff, and you're telling them, treating them as employees without the benefits. You're not giving them healthcare, are you? They get disgruntled, something happens, because that's when people go for an attorney. When they get pissed off, something goes wrong. Not when things are good. Something happens, and who do you think they're going to go to? It's your business, it's not theirs. They have the loyalty, but you don't treat them right, or you do them wrong, or whatever, and hey. The fourth one is systems and processes. This one's a tough one, because nobody likes documentation. It's the boring, mundane, pain in the ass that nobody wants to do. Not small businesses, not large businesses. And large businesses are the huge catalyst to this. Like they do this all the time. They don't document for shit. Trust me, I was in it trying to automate their processes. Don't document. And what tends to happen is that you find a lot of people that are glue, the glue people. This person is doing something, this person's doing something, they communicate, but then they have the middle person that's communicating back and forth, that triangle, but then you do an audit and you're like, oh, I really need this person? They could just talk to each other, and then you have that termination, times then 14,000 in an enterprise level, because you find a lot of people that are duds. You've been in the corporate world, you know that you're working next to people that maybe you're killing your ass, you're hustling, you're working hard, and they're not doing shit. But you're getting paid the same. Or they're getting paid more. A lot of that happens in corporate world. But the difference is the corporate world can be somewhat greedy, to put it nicely, and they can afford it. A small business can't. And so that's really where you need to document, have the right systems in place, have the right processes in place. By the right systems, I mean whenever we're looking, we need a CRM, we need marketing, we need this and that, we really start kind of like talking to people, we don't know what we're doing. We're like, okay, this sounds really good, and we start really allocating different systems that don't communicate with one another, and then, hey, this system kind of does the same thing as this system, and then you're overpaying. We used to try Monday.com. I don't know if you guys use Monday. I call it like the Spirit Airlines of the world. You'll get something, and then it's like oh, you're over this limit, so you need to add something else. And then it's like, oh, you add something else, and then by the time you look, you're paying way more than the HubSpot, who has everything, right? There could be another system that's better, but just those two. And that happens so much. Now automation, what I mean by automation, I am huge on automating systems, processes, repetitive tasks. I can talk to you all day about building agents. Love it. Saved me hiring a lot. It really did. It's useful. Had people and talked to entrepreneurs that are 22, 24, successful, really young minds building their businesses with just bots, agents, doing it. They don't need people. And whenever they do, they're coming to me for like offshoring. My best CRM leads person is in South Africa. Now, my values are to help minority groups wherever they are in the world. So to me, I gave her the chance to do it so that she can build a community around her, because to her, she said, women in my community only belong in the kitchen according to men. I want to do different. I love that. Let's multiply it. That's me 100%. But it was the looking outside of the box. It was looking outside of the US, wherever that is. Could be in the US. But the automation piece is a huge saver. Now automation in a smart way, because sometimes automating can be more costly than hiring a person. So it's really having the right resources to guide you. And the KPIs and dashboards. Sometimes we have, again, great people that we love, we get along with, but if we're not really measuring what they're doing, the value they're bringing, all of these things, are you running a business, or do you have just like a bestie group that, you know, you need to make money? It needs to be a business mindset. You need to measure, and you need to have these conversations. It's different when it's your company. The fifth one is profitability and data. And data-driven decisions. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. What I mean is, let data always be the deciding factor. Let data always show you the facts, not your emotions. I can really love and believe in my service, but if nobody's buying, there's something wrong in my message or in the actual service. The package, who am I targeting? That's when, okay, yes, your ideal prospect matters, but are they even buying? And I know it's hard. I've been guilty of this too. We kind of want to blame the market. It's really not. It sucks, but it's really not. People are buying and spending a lot of money. It's not the market. We may be complaining about the price of our groceries, but there's people still spending and buying in business. A lot. So it's definitely something in your messaging, in your service, in your product. Something is happening and we need to dig in deeper to find out what's going on. The way you're marketing it, People talk a lot about network. Your network matters, and a lot of people get business from referrals. Just that is not scalable though. If you are comfortable with that, great. Great. You have income, it's steady, it's good, and if you're comfortable with it, great. But if you want to actually scale a business, that's what I mean by what is your vision? How much do you want to actually grow it? What does the revenue mean? I brought my mama. So it's incredibly important to really measure and look after your data. And honestly, moments like this, it's having to scale a business with a family, with children, with so much going on, right? You have to incorporate family into your business. You have to bring them along. What we were used to in the corporate world, where you didn't bring children along or things like that, is completely shifting. Take it from somebody that, again, grew an automation company. We're so tired of it, aren't we? Like the prompts and the way that people are communicating now. The way that they're, writing books, but it's all by ChatGPT or automation. It just sounds so unhuman. You're not relatable, you're not connected. And that is where, yes, your story means everything. Because people are not really talking about it. How many people are parents here? You love your kids? Do you always like them? Talk about it. Talk about it. Sometimes you want to freaking strangle them. It's life. I'm sure my mom's right. I'm sure sometimes she wanted to strangle me. That's normal. We need to talk about these things. We need to be human. That is really what's going to set you apart. That's really going to sell who you are. And yes, people want to buy from people they know. The last bonus I want to kind of leave you off with is mindset. Everything's about your mindset. You need to believe in yourself. Truly. Not just say so, take action, but actually believe in yourself. You need to think bigger. Especially women. Especially women. Because sometimes we think and it's like this, and then I'm like, you have so much potential for so much more. I mean, I'm talking about millions more. We really need to rebrand and think bigger. So think bigger, believe in yourselves. I mean, you're here on a Saturday. It's not easy. You got all dressed up. It's Saturday. A lot of people would have said no. But you're here and that says a lot. So really take the moment, take these lessons, take these moments, connect, network, believe in yourself. Just get shit done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to Gabriela Enriquez. And now I also want to invite up Natalia Borakowski, who's going to be speaking on redefining radiance, why energy and confidence help you build bolder.
All right, so as we figuring out the PowerPoint, let's wake up a little. It's been a wonderful session so far. I have to say, me personally, I'm super inspired. I want to publish a book, which just a few minutes ago I was talking to those guys and I said, no way, because I had other people talking to me, oh, you should publish a book. And I always say, well, first, English is not my first language, so I don't even know if I can write my thoughts and put it into something people will read, but now I'm inspired. Rachel, you are a superstar. Your story is incredible. And Gabriela, I'm going to piggyback at what you are finished on about your mindset. So this is the focus of my presentation. Honestly, with this PowerPoint, I didn't even know I was supposed to do a PowerPoint, so I just put some pretty pictures out there. So I'm gonna kind of glaze on it to make sure I stay on track, because I do love to kind of get on attention and talk about fun stories. A little about me. I am not a strategist or a business guru by any means, although I've been a businesswoman for nearly 20 years. I am a physician. So I build my own skincare clinic, and when I typically do talks with women, I talk about beauty. So my talk is about radiance, but we're not talking about pretty skin or Botox or fillers, unless you guys want to, but no. We are going to talk about why your inner radiance, your mental health, your state of mind is, I argue, your best business strategy. So, let's see how this clicker works. Yay, it's working. So I'm going to start with this truth, and it might be a little surprising. Every woman and a man in this room runs two businesses. And the first one is a visible business. Everybody see. It might represent multiple companies. If you're overachiever like a Gabriella or other women I talk, you probably have multiple businesses and you have a huge portfolio. But that's a business that makes you money. Those are your goals, your ambitions, something that you know you can visibly show everyone. But there is a second, quiet business that lives within you. And I argue, majority of business women specifically are obliviously unaware of it. That's a business of your thoughts, business of your self-reflection, business of your self-esteem. And I'm here to tell you that second business funds your first. So if you don't get that biology in order, your first business will never thrive. So Gabriella did a wonderful talk of basically telling us how to scale, how to be ambitious, how to achieve more. And I'm here going to tell you how to slow down and then to embrace the fact that you are women. And we live in a very masculine world when we step into our business shoes, and that is draining. So today, when I'm referring to our radiance, I'm not again referring to that glow, the surface kind, but your internal power that kind of enters the room before you do. Because when you're at peace with your own inner health, everything else falls into place. You probably met some lucky women. You kind of look at their lives and you think, oh my gosh, she's so lucky. Like opportunity just falls on her plate. She's basically achieving everything in her life. It seems to be so effortless. And those women that I've met, I studied them. And what I realized, they are at peace with who they are. They are so interconnected with everything that's happening within their body, with their hormones, with their sleep, with their internal health. And then they make decisions with clarity, not from stress and anxiety. Because often when we drive ourselves empty, when you go and push yourself to the limit, you start to make not connections, not meaningful connections, but you make non-rational, anxious decisions. And often your business becomes a mirror reflection of that chaos. So before you drive yourself to the ground, and I see Michelle is nodding because her and I already chatted about it as well, make sure you do reconnect and you slow down. So that brings me to this point. So we always feel that to be successful in business, we have to hustle. Hustle, hustle, you do more, you invest more, you get more clients, you travel more. And I'm honestly guilty of it. I traveled so much this year, I sometimes was confused in which time zone I am. But when we enter business world, which ultimately for generations always been dominated by men, only in the past 25, 30 years, women enter this world. And the women who do succeed is the one that learn to embrace both masculine and feminine energy. So if you're confused when I'm talking about it, because honestly, I have to think about this and brainstorm with a ChatGPT to fully articulate what does that really mean. to be in the masculine or feminine shoes. Because in order to be successful, you have to be both. The masculine energy is the energy of execution. So like a man running after a mammoth, he saw, he wanted, he killed it. That's basically what helps you to launch business or to scale. But for our feminine bodies, if you get stuck in that energy, that's when you run yourself into a burnout. And I'm telling you this as a woman and a physician who have experienced burnout. And trust me, burnout minds, they don't launch empires. They don't build successful businesses. They don't lead successful teams. So what is your feminine energy? And it's also for men in the room, because you do have to embrace that. Because guess what? You guys also have estrogen and progesterone. Not in abundance as women do, but those hormones are important for you as well. The feminine energy is the energy of connection. And we did talk here in this room why the connections are so important. Specifically for us women, we thrive in the community. The feminine energy is driven by intuition, while male is driven by logic. And you see, they're both important. But if you get so stuck in that linear view and all you're thinking about executing something, you start listening to your intuition. And often, when you are at that point of a burnout, you start mistaking anxiety for intuition. Because ultimately, there is a very subtle difference. And in order to hear difference, you need to slow down and then focus on your internal world. So we're going to zoom in very, very close. And I'm going to tell you something a little fascinating. You are, all of our bodies, is a community of roughly 30 trillion cells. And if you look at those cells under a microscope, they are teeny tiny little soap bubbles. And what's so fascinating in the physiology of our cells, all animal cells, they exist for one purpose only. They want this body and this community to live forever. And they want you to be healthy. Of course, we don't live forever because there's things like oxidative stress. I'm not going to get into the boring parts of it. But the worst thing that we always do to our bodies, we put this in the environment where the community suffers. And yes, that means staying up late, having a very stressful lifestyle, traveling too much, consuming too much alcohol. I mean, I like my wine too. Not moving, all the other stuff that your doctor's telling you about. You should eat healthy diet, you should relax. But ultimately, when you're making poor decisions, staying up late, stressing up over some kind of presentation, or dreading over some client that's been driving you nuts, or being upset about the state of your bank account, try to slow down and think about the community of cells that are supporting your body, so your beautiful human brain at least can put them in a state when they can thrive, so that you can execute and perform at your best ability. This is my beautiful, most favorite site, because this is what really brings it all together.
happened to me recently, actually. I was looking for a restaurant to go celebrate for birthday, and I ended up calling 10 different restaurants to try to get a reservation. I called, no answer. Next person, I'm trying to get it done fast, right? Called, no answer. Imagine how many times that happens daily, across any business, not just restaurants. Any business, you're not answering, what are we doing? We're going to the next person. With our voice AI agent, this is gonna help you alleviate all that. So our voice AI agent can actually handle inbound and outbound calling. Every call gets answered. So that means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to answer it. We call our Sophie. You don't have to call her. Ours named Sophie. She'll answer for you. And then she will create new contacts for each caller. And if the caller is already in the system, it's just gonna update in the CRM. It's gonna update their details in the CRM. And they can handle calls simultaneously. I don't know about you, but I know for me personally, I can't handle multiple calls at the same time. They can also forward your calls and build call trees. So if you wanted to, if they call and say, hey, I'd like to speak to your billing department, it'll take care of that for you. Then, one of the also greatest things I like about this is the summary AI. You will retake transcripts of your call and give you a recap in your email. Then you can also trigger your automations. So we'll get into automations a little bit later. And we all like saving money. It costs a fraction of the cost of actually having to pay a human to answer your phone. See that? All right, so this is the AI agent we built about a month and a half ago. It has taken over 720 calls. It's had 167 positive actions, which means it's going to the next stage in the sales process. And then lastly, we have a 99% positive rating with our AI agent. So that means that it's actually, doing pretty well. Because one thing about our customers is they will tell us the truth. She's like, yeah. They will definitely tell us the truth. All right, next. And then here's our voice AI stats. Over 355,000 agents created to date, 3.2 million calls handled, and over 9,000 booked appointments. All done by the voice AI agent. Wait, go back. Because this is one of my favorite slides too. If you're like me and this guy, don't like answering the phone or talking on the phone, right? So what do? We have something for that. Our live AI chat. It can handle live voice or text-based. Also create contacts, and it can populate the CRM as the conversation is going. So if you prompted and trained your agent very well, throughout the conversation it's collecting the data that the customer is actually giving you. It's super easy to train, because like I said, if you've loaded it with your Google Docs, and with all your data, website data, the system is just gonna, you keep feeding in more data, the better it's gonna be. It answers immediately, so there's no 5-minute wait, 10-minute wait. And it is amazing with FAQs. I know a lot of you guys who have businesses have a lot of customers who ask the same questions over and over again. I know we do. There's the same set of questions that they ask over and over again. If you feed it to your bot, they'll be able to answer those with ease. And it can also read files and voice notes. And of course, book appointments. And if you don't want to continue the conversation with the bot, then you can let it know you want to speak to a human, and it's going to do a human rollover for you. It's going to tell you, all right, I'll get you a human. All right, this is a lot. Listen, y'all can screenshot that one. Keep clicking. Keep on clicking. Keep on clicking. Yeah. Keep going. All right, so one more click. Not that many clicks. All right, we're good here. So take a screenshot of that one. There's so much information on this one thing. So the reason why I asked you guys earlier about the ways that you guys feed your business, most successful businesses actually run traffic through their funnels, right? Your website. So with that, this is going to help you. Our AI, we have this AI audit that's going to help you optimize your page. So anything that they feel that is better as far as like keywords and anything that's broken, it's going to actually actually let you know so you can update it. It's all can be done in a one-click fix, don't click it, go. Yeah. The reason why this is super good is because who can do all that? Themselves. Who? Anybody in this room? Anybody? No? Okay, me either. So that's why I like that too. One-click fix and you can get it done. Then you have your AI SEO. So this is gonna be an overview of everything that you need on your SEO site after you run the analytics. It's going to recommend things that you can optimize for your site. And same with you, just put that out too. Hey, in-person events, this one's for you. This is for you. That AI biz card scanner. So, next slide, we have it built into our mobile app. We also have a gray label version of the app because a lot of our customers do white label and resell it to the platform, so they don't want you to know it's called high level because they've rebranded it to their own brand. So the gray label mobile app is called Lead Connector. So in that app, you can scan the scan the business card, and it's going to automatically update it into the CRM for you. And another cool step it's going to do, after it automates into there, you can put it into a workflow. I'll talk about that in a second. I already said that part. It creates the contact, and then so for the workflow, how many of you have actually been to an event like this, or another conference, or anywhere networking, and somebody gave you a business card, and you never look at it again? That's all of us, right? All of us have done this. So what this is going to do for you is once you scan that, you can set up an automation so that it to either have it anytime you want, the next day or the same day, that night, or it can say, hey, it was so nice to meet you, let's connect. Oh, hey, it was great seeing you at Bold Women Big Moves, give me a call. However you want to do that. That way you don't have to remember that you collected 10 cards and who all you spoke with. The system will do it for you. Then we have AI prospecting. Oh, you did great, sorry. AI prospecting, finds ideal leads for you and generates marketing audits. So how this works is the system will search millions of businesses, and find the ones that have that structure you can help. So you've loaded all your data, right, into this agent. So it's feeding and learning from that data. This is what a lot of our customers love the prospecting tool because it's helped them gain a lot of customers over the years. It's one of their favorites, actually. Oh, we're on step 2, the nurturing phase. So AI tools that help you nurture leads into combos and appointments. Oh man, has anybody ever heard the term speed to lead? Yes, that is super important and essential to your business. Because why? Humans are just too slow. Humans are inconsistent, and we need to leverage automation. Okay, don't click it. Because this chart here is from an MIT professor. They did a survey that if you haven't contacted the lead in 5 minutes, might as well not waste your time. And the craziest part is, when do most leads contact you? Outside of work hours and on the weekends, when you want to be free too, right? So that's when you're missing a lot of leads. But it's time to clone yourself. You can't do it all, but your AI employee can. With our high-level CRM, we're going to help you automate and run your business. So, appointment booking in our conversational AI. You can schedule appointments in the links in there. You can ask for the booking link or just do conversation. Hey, do you have any availability at 5 p.m. on Monday? Sure, great. Let's lock that in. That's going to drop it into that person's calendar. Bam, the meeting's booked. Just like that. Oh, let's have that there too. Knows availability from high-level calendars. So basically what I just said. And it can also cancel and reschedule appointments for you. Then we have our AI decision-making workflow. A lot of people use lead funnels, but do you use lead workflows? Anybody in here? how do you prospect your prospects? All right, good, see, all right. So what this does is it routes leads down paths based on the conditions outlined in your prompt. So if you're tired of hearing, oh, they're not answering, oh, I've called them 5 times and they said they were gonna call me back Wednesday, and they said after they talk to their wife, they're gonna let me know. They never call me back. What do I do? Do I just give up? No, gotta reach out again. With our AI employee, what you can do is set up an automation. So if you have one person that says yes, one person that hasn't responded, you can filter your automation to go each way. So if the person that hasn't responded at all continues to not respond, guess what? They're gonna get a text from me next week. It ain't gonna be me texting, it's gonna be the AI employee telling them, hey, what'd your wife say? Okay, maybe not that. I would see it in a pretty way, but that's what I would say. So yeah. And we also have an auto follow-up system. It's called our Smart Auto Follow-up, where the bot will follow up with the contact in any given time sequence. So the system's gonna read figure out through the data that it's learning about your customers, the best times it is for you to follow up with them. It's my favorite. The tools that help get you paid. All right, we're on the close stage. So this is AI sales must-have. You must have AI call scripting. You must have sales feedback and coaching, automation workflows to follow up with those unpaid invoices, and mobile on the go. Stay here. Now, payments, they're not AI, of course, but they are a must-have. And I'm gonna put the last two together, mobile and payments. And I'll give you an example. So we were at our conference in Dallas a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to two of our clients, and one of the clients loved the person's offer so bad that they put up their card on the spot, ready to pay. And the assistant is scrambling, trying to get out her laptop to put it on the table to get the Wi-Fi on to take the payment. And the business owner is just yapping away, going. She's like, hey, stop talking, I'm trying to get this payment. Like, what are you doing? She had to go through a lot of pain just to get this payment out when she could just literally have it on her phone and tap, right? Next slide. All right, so for our AI call scripts, this is where you can help, you can train your team. You can have scripts for when they're taking calls. So if you have a sales team or a closer, you can actually feed them scripts in the system. Then we have AI sales coaching, where the system is actually going to record your calls and then analyze the transcripts and provide coaching based on your business's goals. That was quick, right? I feel like we were on capture and nurture for a very long time. But I guess it doesn't take much to close if you already did the first two right? All right, so now AI tools to turn customers into reviews and recommendations. This is called Evangelize. Now you have three different types of fans in your business. The first step is like an audience. They like your posts every now and again, might give you a little comment or two, might have bought a product one time. Then you have your fans, active. They like most of your posts, they comment, they might have even given a review or two. Then you have your raving fans. These are the ones that are going to actually help you make more money, because they are liking all your posts, recommending you to everybody and their mama to buy your products because they love what you offer them that much. And that's where you're going to have the most impact, because they're going to do your job for you. They're going to tell everybody how great you are. You're not having to spend a whole bunch of time doing it because they love you that much. And now, having a happy customer isn't enough. You want them to be able to leave you positive reviews and recommend you to others. So for your AI-powered must-haves, AI review requests, AI replies, and embeddable review widgets, automated review to social sharing. All right. Oh, go back. I'm sorry. My bad. Get that screenshot. My bad. I'm sorry. Go get that screenshot. All right, cool. So within HighLevel's platform, you can to where all of your reviews are in the platform natively, and you're able to reply actually in the platform. And then, as soon as somebody makes a purchase from you, or you make some money some kind of way, you can send them a text message, an email, or even a WhatsApp asking them for a review. Automated in our system. And did you know that search engines like Google reward businesses who reply to their reviews? You have a screenshot that one too. This is from ChatGPT. So don't skip it. So with more reviews means you're getting higher ranked on SEO, which means if I'm looking for a beauty salon, it's time to get my hair done. And my beautician I go to every month is sick, and I need to go to somebody new. How else do I find them? Google, right? But you don't trust everybody with their hair, right? So what do you do next? You go to the reviews, right? The more reviews you have, the higher ranked you are on Google. So if you have positive reviews versus somebody who has, if you have 30 positive reviews versus somebody who has 10 positive reviews, obviously you're going to be ranked higher. Meaning what? I'm calling you first. That's how SEO works. And this is our autoresponder. So how this works is when somebody leaves a review, the system can auto-respond for you. But you don't want to make it as soon as they leave a review, right? Because then that's obvious that it's automated. So you can put a timer on how long you want that to respond. We even do deal with bad reviews. This is an auto-response from our system. And we internally joke because if you ever seen, if you know anything about how our CEO is very active in everything. And he replies to reviews all day and night himself. The system even did a better job than he would. Know what else helps your rankings and conversions? Review widgets. Next one. Go ahead and screenshot that one. This is also ChatGPT. Now tell me when you're ready for me to go to the next slide. Good? Okay, cool. Next slide. All right, so now it's time to reactivate. So we've captured, we've nurtured, we've closed. We've evangelized. But now it's time to reactivate those customers. There's nothing better than a repeat customer. All right. We're good. This one tickles me every time, I'm sorry. This slide gets the best of me every time. Okay, so consistently, you send out updates, promotions. You're engaging with those customers after that you already have in your email list, contact list that have already purchased from you before. So, can you please bring your attention here? Hey Chase, Kilo Construction here. We're running a spring promo on pot filler faucets. Have you tried one? Next slide. Okay, I'm sorry. Have any of y'all ever heard of a pot filler faucet? I'm the only one that hasn't? HGTV, okay. My mom watches that all day, okay. Because when I read that slide, excuse my French, I said, what the hell is a pot filler? I had no idea what that was. I'm like, wait, so y'all just don't want to take the pot and put it in the same
No, you gotta do pasta.
Oh, okay, so y'all do it after. I'm not a chef in the kitchen. I don't be cooking like that, because I was like, why would anybody do this? But, yeah, see, okay. So y'all are more hip than me, because I was like, what is this? Shout out to our marketing team for that slide, though. They taught me something new. And clearly, I'm the late one here. But, so if you send that message out to 1,000 people, though, you're going to get some people like you who are like, yeah, I was thinking about getting one of those. How much? Right? So that is how you reactivate campaigns with sales on demand. AI images and appointment settings. Ooh, you are fast. I can't even keep up with you. All right, go ahead. So this is our Ask AI. So if you're an HVAC company and it's summertime, what are you gonna do, right? You're gonna send out messages to your previous customers. Hey, it's summer. Hope you're doing well. It's time for you to get your AC serviced. What is that gonna do? It's gonna remind me, oh, you're right. I ain't got that thing checked for 10 years. It's time for me to get my AC serviced so I'm not hot. All right, next slide. Then, you can also have the system help you create the copy for the emails or text messages you're gonna send out. You can also tell it to have, exactly, you can also, if you don't like what it comes out with, you can just tell it one little prompt and it's gonna make it a lot better for you. The system's gonna keep learning from you and learning from you every time you prompt it to make the prompts better. Next slide. Yes, yep. Then we have our smart SIM. So what the system does, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, is that it will take the data that it's been fed. So it's going to see your click-through rate, it's going to see the times that most of the customers are opening those emails, taking all that data and letting you know when is the best time to send those emails because it's already learning everything about your business. Next, please. All right, for our quick wins here, we're going to customize AI employee, deploy AI chat, we're going to set up AI reply reviews. The next side, these are things that are going to take a little bit longer, but they're beneficial for you in the long haul. So you're going to implement 360 personalized content routines with Sora. You're going to create an AI-powered qualification funnel, super important for your leads. You want to make sure that you are spending time on the ones that are qualified for your business. If you have a $5,000 offer and somebody says they only have $2,000, you don't want to waste your time, right? I mean, unless y'all want to give discounts. No, okay. You know your worth, right? You know your worth. All right, cool. Then the last one is to continuously feed it and to refine the loops. That means you're going to continuously feed your AI agent, your AI employee, so that way it's getting better continuously. If you add new things to your business, you need it to know ASAP, right? So continuously feed your AI employee. For a session recap, the growth flywheel, you've gone over what it is and why it's important. The benefit of running your business with AI and automation, and how to personalize your outreach to customers and be everywhere all at once. And this is how you do it. With our AI employee. I'll take a screenshot of that because I'm not reading those. Alright, next slide. And if you want to actually take home the growth flywheel with you, you can take a picture of that, and that is the website, gohighlevel.com/growth flywheel, and it's going to give you this exact chart. Make sure that you guys yourself use this chart. That is the end of my presentation. I hope you guys learned about how great High Level is today. I know why y'all are really here. Y'all want to win this iPad, huh? I already know. Y'all didn't want to hear me. Y'all didn't want to hear me. Y'all just wanted this iPad. It's okay. It's okay. She's like, I already got it. I just, I'm waiting on this iPad. All right. So has everybody entered the raffle?
Yes.
You got some time? Go ahead and scan the QR code. This is also actually an automation from a lead magnet. But everybody good? Is there anybody else that needs the QR code? Yeah, if you already did it outside, yes. Then you are good to go. You are entered into the raffle. Is that everybody? Is there anybody else? Okay. All right. So now we have a couple of steps here to win, a couple of rules. The first step is everybody has to be standing. Come on up. Let's go. Everybody stand up. Come on, y'all just have lunch. Y'all are fine. Then that wheel, spin that wheel. That's just practice, we're not there yet. But I love the enthusiasm. And then, the last step is you must be present to me. So if you're not here, and we call your name, you're not here, we have to spin again. All right.
Everyone sees their name?
Yeah.
All right.
You don't? She don't say her name.
What's your name?
Joelle DeMarco.
Like that?
Rachel.
LLE.
Did you do the cure?
Yeah, I did that.
I'm gonna check and see if it's still. Oh, wait, we got two more over here that they did it well. We wanna make
What's
sure
your first
everybody.
name?
Rachel, what's your last name? Lawson. Okay, we gotta make sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Last
Rachel
one?
Lawson, and then,
Connor.
and you got a text message too, that's weird, okay. But if you just put it.
Yeah, I got a text message too.
So weird.
What's your name?
Okay,
All right. Is that everyone?
you got everybody? You Good to go? All right, so on three, we're gonna say spin that wheel, on three. 1, 2, 3. Spin that wheel! Spin that wheel! Spin that wheel! Spin that wheel!
All right. Quick pick.
You know what I told her? Do some magic.
Quick pick. Yeah. Thank you, Mona. Good job.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to me, yeah.
Make my day.
Can you tell me this? Do you still need this one? Yes. Okay. Great.
I think that one. Wait,
Into this one?
there you go.
Oh, were you all using
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, just pull that up. Congratulations.
All right, well, that was exciting with the raffle there, and I know we have a few other raffles this afternoon, so just reminding you on our next break, we have another speaker first, but on our next break, make sure that you are going around to the tables, getting your sponsor passports checked off, and then dropping it into the box. One thing that I will mention, because it might be causing some confusion, and I did forget myself, one of the tables is not here. So there will be one called uprisers that will not be able to get checked off. So as long as you have all 9 except uprisers, you can drop it into the box. We'll be doing that raffle later on today along with a few others. So now I have the pleasure of introducing Robin Raymond, who is going to be speaking about power plays, how bold bets drive growth, scale, and CEO confidence. Thank you.
So, I was set to talk about really placing bets on yourself and your business to scale. And I want to start first by sharing, I think the one most important thing I've learned is being a CEO of my company. And to start that, so I want each of you to take the bag that you have, open it up, inhale, breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in woke up a little bit. Yeah. Energy, right? So there's 2 oils, essential oils that I use in there. These are doTERRA. I'm not promoting the product. I'm promoting the concept of taking time in your day. And what happens when you use these as a CEO, as a person, so I use these 2 to give me energy and focus. So when I'm in my day and I have a task that I need to do, I will pull out my essential oil, my peppermint and wild orange, and use those to get myself grounded and focused and energy on what I need to do. So as I work with clients, I have them do the same thing. Identify where are the times in your day where you have low energy? Where's the time in your day where you need some sort of pick-me-up? And use these things as a way to encourage yourself and get yourself in the right mindset. How many of you now feel more energy right now from this?
All of us.
Yeah, yeah, right? Right? Yeah. So now what I want you to do is think about what's the one thing you want to accomplish for either your personal or your professional in the next week. One thing you want to accomplish, personal or professional. And I'm going to have each of you share that. Introduce yourself to the group. Yeah. 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 Part of this was networking, so let's meet you. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Sandra Antoine. I'm the CEO of Antoine Legal Support Services. My business provides virtual support, paralegal support to solo attorneys. And I have about a little over 20 years experience, so that's my craft.
Yep. So what's the one thing you want to accomplish in your business over the next week?
I would like to secure another client.
Okay. And what does that mean?
That means reaching out to prospects, people that have shown interest in my business or have had questions about it.
Okay. So do you have a pipeline that you could contact, or are you going to have to find an event where you can meet them?
I'm probably gonna have to find an event. I have some old contacts that I can reach back out to, but I will have to continue to attend events where I can find attorneys.
Yeah, so in the next 7 days, you'll be focusing on reaching out to, sounds like the people that you have to find. Yep. Okay. Yes. Neither of you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready? Which way am I going?
Yeah, you can go
Okay, I'm April Hyatt. I'm the founder of Wise Women Masterminds. And the thing I'm focusing on this week is I have new groups that are starting next week. And I'm getting better at setting up I'm going to set up the SOPs for the onboarding process for all of them. That's what I'm going to accomplish this week.
Okay, awesome. And is that something that's been on your plate for a while, or is
Yes.
it? Okay.
This week I'm doing.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead. No, you get to go too. Oh, you don't have anything you want to accomplish in the next 7 days? Come on.
I'm Mary Graham. This is my husband Eric. We haven't come up with a business yet. One of the things I want to accomplish, I guess personally, she was talking about developing a ritual. Trying to find that time or that space for myself.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. I have had to carve out mornings for myself, right? So that's the only time I can control when I get up. I can control that I don't check my email. I can control that I don't turn on the TV, right? mornings for me are that, right? Yeah, yeah, so you have to find the time. Awesome, so you don't want to share? Okay. Yeah, go for it, Randy.
Okay, so I don't have my back to the mic. Okay, hi. I'm Brandy, I'm the founder, assessment queen, reading rebel because book nerd is absolutely negative and I refuse to have it. And I started the Inspire team. We teach people to work in their strengths, love who they are, and understand themselves so they can understand others. My thing I'm going to do this week, surprise, is for you. Well, it's for me. I am going to have the shitty first draft of my outline for my book.
Yeah, I love it. That's the way to think about it, right? Just, yeah, progress over perfection, right? Progress over perfection. Awesome. Please.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine Morales and I'm a real estate agent here in Orlando. I've been an agent for 10 years now. And the thing that I want to accomplish this week is putting one of my listings under contract.
Yes. Awesome. How many listings do you have?
Right now, 3. So
Okay.
I want to get one. Well, actually 2. I'm trying to work on 2, but one of them, they're messaging me now, so
Yeah. Okay. That's fantastic. How's that fit for the year for you? Because we're coming up to the
good.
end.
It's been a little slow, so it's good to be getting like more business now that we're, going to be getting into 2026 soon. So.
Yep. Good. Thank you for sharing. Mona.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I am the iPad winner, in case you didn't know. I'll be working on a few things. Number one, making sure that some deals are closing, taking them to the closing table. And also restructuring my Global Women of Impact and new programs. Finalizing my book because it's finished. It just needs revision. I already spoke with you. And commit to 5 days workout.
5 over the next 7. So that's only 2 days off, right? Okay.
Give myself a break 2 days and commit to 5 days.
Now, we'll get your phone number. We'll text you as an accountability, right? Luisa. Yeah.
All right, hi guys, my name is Maria Luisa Lores. I am the co-founder of the Technovator, Incubator for Technology and Innovation, mentor for women in technology for the U.S. federal government. And I really, what I want to accomplish in the next 7 days is to have 4 women that we can help to escalate their business, that I can help to do the strategy, that I can help to find that space where they can fit in Central Florida so they can be ready to actually execute a strategy and start the year without money or any goal sign that they have. And they can accomplish. I mean, that's what we do, and that's what I want for the next 7 days.
Okay, so 4 clients in the next 7 days.
4 women in the next 7 days are gonna.
And you didn't have an opportunity to share. Would you like to? So what would you like to, well, tell us a little bit about your business and then what would you like to accomplish over the next 7 days?
I actually don't have an independent business. I work with corporate.
That's fine. So what would you like to accomplish over the next 7 days? That's right, financial services closing. Okay, well, so in the other thing that's in your packet is a poker chip.
How about the speakers? Like,
Oh yeah, does anybody else want to go?
Sorry. No, go guys.
Yeah.
Someone, how about you guys? Okay, go ahead, over there.
Yeah, so I'm Rachel. I'm a women's empowerment speaker and also a publishing strategist with selfpublishing.com. And personally, I would like to work on my sleep for the next 7 days because I know that I'm slowly, under the makeup, I'm turning gray from not sleeping very much the last month or so. And then also professionally, I would say helping 4 women from this event overcome their fear of telling their story and take the next step to write their book.
Yeah, nice, nice. And sleep, as
Yeah, I know.
Natalia said,
I'm gonna come
Yes. Sleep and water, right? Yeah, and Whole Foods. Those were the first three, right? Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Mark, Gabriela Enriquez, CEO and founder of HRBC and Global Edge Partners. I've found a really good cadence, so I have a really good routine. Stick to it. It's my birthday month, so I'm celebrating all month. Yeah, just continue with that. I have a good cadence with consultation calls and opening myself up, always available to empowering women businesses. So. Yeah.
I'm Alexandra, Ali, Alex. I'm next to you and mom. And this week I'm committing to eating 3 meals a day, meal prepping, instead of eating like a broke college student.
Yay, I'm sure Mom is happy to hear that.
She's not home, so yes. Meal prepping.
Yeah, Michelle?
Yeah.
Sure.
My name is Michelle Bonet. I'm a business growth strategist, and I'm coming off of 2 back-to-back events, including hosting an in-person retreat last week. So I'm focused on rest, big time rest, recovery, just recalibrating, reflecting all my thoughts, and just giving myself the time and space to go back at it.
Yeah.
Really just focused on rest.
So what does that look like for you? What does that mean? Does that mean
Couch
like?
rotting? No.
Yeah, no, really, yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of just no appointments. I have no
Yep.
appointments for the next couple of days.
Exactly, right.
Really resting.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, reflecting, doing a lot of reflecting.
Mm-hmm. So the idea behind the poker chip is that I co-founded a software company with another female, and we raised $13.1 million in angel and venture capital. And we raised the first $1.1 million in 4 months. So we started in August, and by December we had $1.1 million. And we felt like we were on a really good growth path, and we had a good team. And shortly after that, by April, the tech bust happened. And so we had a team, we had client potential, but we weren't able to raise another round of funding. And so my co-founder and I were in a position by August that we were running out of money. We had a team of about 20 people. We had some revenue, but not enough to support the team. And we were trying to decide what to do. And our investors, who are venture capital investors, said they would give us money. It's called a bridge loan. So they're going to give us money for 4 to 6 months to carry us through. But they wanted it at the same valuation as when they invested in us in December. And that meant we would go from giving up 20% of the company to giving up almost 50% of the company. Our other option was that we had a women's investor conference in September. So this is August. We had a women's investor conference. And it's put on by an organization that helps women raise venture capital. And so, but that was a huge gamble, right? So we had kind of a safe bet. We had a safe bet from our previous investors that would make it so we didn't own, we would own 51% of the company. They would have 49%, but most of the company right now is owned by them. Or we would gamble and go to the investor conference, and with the potential that we would, by then, have run out of money. So that decision point and making that decision is a bet that happens every day to every one of us. Every time we make a decision, we're making a decision with limited information, without knowing all the facts, and that's why it's just like playing poker. So poker is very different. If any of you played poker or chess, poker is very different than chess. Chess, you know the moves that each player can make, and you know the possible moves on the board. so you have all the information. In our business and in our life, we never have all the information. We always have things that are unknown. And so getting comfortable with placing bets when you don't have all that information is the one thing that I took away from that. And I started looking at, how do we place bets? How do we make that decision to bet on ourselves or bet on our business? And when do we do it? For that part of the story, we did go to the investor conference. We met the lead investor out of Atlanta. We're here in Orlando. We met the lead investor out of Atlanta who led an $11 million round. So by December, we had an $11 million round. But we didn't know that when we made the bet. We didn't know that was going to happen. And one of the things I learned then about placing bets is some of it's skill, right? I mean, we definitely worked on our investor presentation. We definitely did what we needed to do to be successful at the event. But there's also an element of luck. And that's why I love poker, right? Because poker, you can make the best bet, and sometimes you still lose because there's luck involved. It's not all skill. So I now work with women CEOs who are placing bets in their business in order to scale. So we work through in 13 weeks, we work through what's a bet you can place in order to scale your business. And there's a book that I use with all my women entrepreneur clients called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. And Annie Duke was one of the first women professional poker players. She's a champion poker player. And so she talks about, especially us as women, how we are less likely to take bets and place bets. We're much more conservative. We want the 50-50 odds. And so she, in her book, says there's kind of 3 ways to think about placing bets. And one is a bet to learn. So a bet to learn is what I'm doing here. So this talk is the first time I've given this talk, and I'm doing it to learn, to get the feedback from this. And so as a business owner, you can place a bet to learn. And solely, the whole outcome is just learning from that. Whether you win or lose, that's not the goal. The goal is to learn. The other thing she talks about, which I really have started to add in, is it's called Descent to Win. And she devotes a whole chapter to this. And the Descent to Win says, when we have ideas or we go to do something, we can see all the reasons why it's going to work. And so Descent to Win says bring in others' opinions who are, some may say, doubting Thomases or negative Nellies, but have the attitude of why won't this work? And bring people into yours who will share why this won't work. What am I missing? What am I not seeing? So that way when you place the bet, your bet is a stronger bet to win. In the process of getting that additional information, everybody who's given you that additional information now becomes a stronger part of your team. And I would say that is the one thing that led to our success in raising our next round, is that everybody on the team was bought in to helping that be successful. So it wasn't just our pitch, it was that our sales team was out getting a pipeline of customers for us because they were part of placing this bet. Our engineering team came up with some prototypes for pilot customers because they were bought in to placing this bet. Our accounting and our finance was very creative in helping us spread our money out in ways that we could make payroll, because they knew that there were going to be opportunities. They were buying into helping us be successful on that bet. So as you go in your business, in your life, think about ways, use energy and your mindset to place the bet, bring in dissenters to help you strengthen your bet, and that will help you scale your business. So I'm Robin Raymond. I am founder and CEO of Red Admiral Ventures. We're mission-driven, 3,000 women and entrepreneurs 2 and through 8 figures by 2030, because we change our world. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much to Robin. We are about to go to break, but there's a few things that I just want to go over again. I just reminded you guys earlier about the sponsor passports. To complete those, drop them into the box. We will have a raffle for that right after the panel. If you have any specific questions that you want to ask any of the sponsors while we are doing the panel, be sure to submit your questions in the back so we can ask those questions of the panel in just a few minutes. And if you guys don't mind, if I can get everyone up front really quickly to do a group photo, that would be greatly appreciated. We're so thankful that all of you guys are in attendance and are here today and being part of a journey of creating a community, because after all, that is how we grow, we learn and connect through community. So we want to invite you all to take a group photo. I'll open it up to the room to ask any questions that you want to know of our panel. So first off, what's one constraint you must address before legitimately saying you're ready to scale your business, or before you're ready to scale your business? Does that make sense? I don't know whose question that is, but.
Can you just say
What's the one now?
What is one constraint you would address before legitimately saying you're ready to scale your business?
I think it would actually be like determining, do you want to scale? Because scale doesn't necessarily mean that you want some large publicly traded company. It doesn't mean that you want hundreds of employees. It really just means that you're ready to start taking things off of your plate and being able to automate the things that you do. But you have to ask yourself, like, why are you doing that? What is your ultimate goal? Is it to free up your time? Is it to create more revenue? Because that's going to tell you what step to actually take. If it's not your time, maybe it is scaling for profitability. It's scaling to bring more clients on, but not necessarily more overhead. So you really have to actually understand, I think, the objective of what you're trying to look for from a scaling perspective, because scaling doesn't necessarily mean growing your company. It just means bringing on additional capacity within what you already have and automating systems in order to do that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to go from a small 5-person team to a 500-person team. Some people don't want that, and you don't have to want that in your company, but you should think, do I want to bring on more clients with what I have? That can be a point of scale. But I think you have to really determine, like, what is your ultimate end goal, and what do you want your company to look and feel like, and then take steps towards scaling in that direction. But scaling doesn't mean that you want to be some massive corporation. It could simply mean you want to serve more clients, or that you want to have a slightly larger staff, but you don't have to scale to be thousands of people. You can scale with 5.
To add to that, I would say the difference, because a lot of people confuse, they use the word scaling and then instead of growth, right? So scaling gives the illusion, is usually a term used for really rapid, fast growth and growing way beyond a small team, right? Growth, however, is something that is smaller in size. It could go fast, but it's beyond yourself. So it could be, that looks different to everybody. So to her point, it really depends on what it is that you want, and again, your vision. What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? You know, being a CEO and overseeing people, paying their salaries is a big responsibility. So how much of that do you want to take on? How much of that are you ready to take on? And is your business where it is right now sustainable? Does it have a really good process flow, and is it efficient? Because if it's not, growth is just gonna make it really go bankrupt faster.
Yeah, and I'd like to add something really quick that I actually think you could tie in really well, which is just nervous system regulation being such a core part of growing in any business. Simply because if you're trying to scale or get new clients from a dysregulated nervous system and you're anxious and stressed, people can feel that, and doesn't mean you can't, obviously make steps forward. I've done a lot of things from a dysregulated space, but it would have probably been a lot more fun for everyone had I taken the time to ground myself first. And so that's kind of a place I'm in now, where finally I feel like I have that stability to really grow and expand from. And it's actually honestly why I encourage people to write a book if they're kind of taking a pause in their business, because there's a wonderful book called The Body Keeps the Score. It's one of my favorites. It talks a lot about processing trauma. And so if you've been in the corporate space or you've been an entrepreneur, you've probably even had some kind of trauma just professionally, not just childhood trauma. There's probably been something that's happened that's made you feel unsafe to be seen, unsafe to be heard, unsafe to have a voice. And so the best thing you can do to kind of reclaim that is actually to write, whether you publish or not, but obviously I encourage you to publish. But either way, it's probably one of the best things you can do to ground your nervous system and stabilize. Like I said, I'm sure you have other points on that as well, but I would probably focus on making sure you actually feel safe to grow and expand first.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And what I want to add is to our latest talk about taking risks or taking a gamble on your own success. And we women tend not to take risks because we prefer safety. So of course it goes into your nervous system regulation. So if you're asking yourself a question, am I ready to scale? What limitations I have to scale? I would say likely your company is ready, but you're not. So that's a moment of reflection, and then to ask yourself, is my nervous system, is my body, my personality ready to scale? Am I ready to take that leap of faith, to take the risk? Because very likely finances are in order, the company is ready to grow, but you are not there yet.
Thank you. One of the next questions being, how do you shift from your role of being founder to the strategic leader growing your business? So I guess at what point do you go from doing everything to being more of a leader than that?
I think it's more so to your talk, because honestly, I would say, with complete honesty, I still haven't found that balance. And I still try to figure out how to take less responsibilities at work, and I still really terrible delegator, and I'm really good at delegating something and taking that job back because I don't see them doing it so well. So it's work in progress, and I think it's got a growing pains for every business, especially for us women. We tend to be more emotional, we're more nurturing with our relationships, we want everything to be perfect before it's done. So to me, it's honestly never perfect. You just always kind of balance, and you still fulfill both roles.
It goes back to what is it that you want. There are people that I talk to, and they're talking about growth, but then they want to do the work. They want to be a consultant. They want to talk to their clients and be that go-to person. And that's okay if you want to do that. You can't really scale that because it's all on you, right? And there's only so much that you can do. So you will have a cap in how many clients you can have at a time. If you have the reoccurring business, the retainer model, and all of these things, obviously that's constant, that's great. It's more security, it's operational. But again, do you want to grow beyond yourself? That would be the question. If I want to take on clients and I'm okay with not being the person they speak to, then you can hire, and that's when you really expand beyond yourself. But if that's something that you're really passionate about, I don't discourage it, but you will be limited.
I think for me, when I knew I was ready to be the person who was at 30,000 feet in my businesses and not the one who was delivering everything, it definitely came from a point of stress, but I also think it came when I was willing to let my team fail. Like, I was willing to hand off tasks that I knew I was really amazing at, and I could still teach them, I could teach them my process, but I was willing to have it go wrong. Because it's not going to be perfect. Like, as much as we can say, like, hey, we can train and here's the system and it's all gonna be great, like, it's just not. And I was willing to say that there is nothing that any team member in my business can do to crash it in 5 minutes. Like, there's no single call or single email or single task or meeting that they can take that is just gonna destroy everything. Like, I had such faith in what we had built as a team and what I had built even before they were there to know, like, our reputation was intact, we had an excellent service, and our clients knew we were growing also. Like, we were very open about it. It was not like one day all of a sudden I was doing a task with a client or having meetings and then all of a sudden I just shoved it off to another person. There's a lot of repetition that came along with that. They joined me in meetings. My clients said, hey, why is, you know, such and such joining us? And I would just tell them, like, hey, she's learning to take this over, and one of these days she's gonna be the person who you're talking to. Like, I didn't need to be the face of my business. I didn't need to be the person who my clients were talking to. In fact, I didn't want that. And so I was willing to say, like, no matter what happens, like, I'm willing to let them fail and then teach them again and show them, you know, how we can grow. And then it tested our own systems. Like, it tested internally, like, where things were broken. Because even though I thought that they were solid, like, until somebody else does what you do, you don't actually know if the system was right. And so even now, as we bring on team members in any of my businesses, there's an SOP, but the person who comes in actually rewrites it. So just because we wrote it a year ago or just because we wrote it 6 months ago doesn't mean that something hasn't changed or we needed to make an adjustment. When they go through it, if they can't repeat it exactly, maybe it was written wrong. And so we update those on a regular basis, whether it's a new system or new email address or something that needs to go in there. Like, we just keep evolving, and I'm willing to let mistakes happen. And I think until you're willing to do that, you don't have probably the structure in place to just lead, because you're probably doing too many things hands-on. That's what I would say.
Next. There are so many tools available. What are the most important to focus on in the early stage?
Oh, there's one system I've heard that does everything.
I mean, hey, yeah, no. I honestly, if I didn't work for High Level, I'd probably say the same thing. For beginner businesses, it is a system that is something that they can implement and help them grow. There's so many features, but you don't have to, the best thing is that you don't have to learn them all. Just learn the ones that your business needs. You're gonna need a funnel. You're gonna need to send emails. You're gonna need to see a text message. You're gonna want reviews. Main things you're gonna need, right? You don't need all the things that I just spoke about. You don't need all that yet. As you grow in your business, you can obviously get there, but with High Level, you don't need to use every feature. Stay at your level and grow on scale and add more features once you get there, so.
I would also say focus on processes, not systems. Systems can be really expensive. They can become recurring. We're spending a lot of money on them. We may buy pieces of software that we don't actually fully implement or fully integrate. This is one of the audits that we like to do with clients, making sure that they're actually getting ROI in what they're doing. But a process is not a system, and a system is not your process. You need to have your processes down first and know exactly how you do something to find a system that can automate it or make it easier. But if you don't have processes in place, a system is not going to solve it.
Write a book.
All right. How do you assess the competitive landscape? And I guess that would vary depending on, I don't know whose question it is, but depending, and tell me if I'm wrong, depending who your competitors are. So it could, the answer I'm imagining would vary depending on each of these ladies up here, but if anyone wants to add a response to that.
It's so different because we do competitor analysis all the time. So it really does vary by industry. It's very custom. You have to, you obviously, when you want to know that, you want to know what's driving their business, what's impacting it, where their leads are coming from, the funnel, all of these things. So we could run the competitor analysis, but again, if you don't have a process in place and you're not documenting what you're doing, you're still going to fall short. So all of that foundation needs to be there in order to really take it to the next level.
I don't believe in competition. I will just put that out there. I don't believe in competition. I think that everyone's business, no matter if we were in the same industry, if we were on the same side of the street, if we were in the same shopping center or the same mall, there is something very unique and very different about every single business owner, and you are going to attract your tribe by the way of your personality, the way that you do things, the way that your client experience is going to be. I mean, competition, go to the bread aisle of any grocery store. How many hundreds of brands are there in one square section? And I can tell you, all of those don't go right? Like, people are buying them because they want some very specific thing from that product. So I don't care if every single one of us were up here or business strategists. I mean, there's several of us in the room, but I can tell you that each of us do very different things. We do things that complement one another, but we might all have the same title, but we definitely do different things. And I just simply don't believe that I am competing against one of these other people for business, because there is so much business to go around. How many banks are in your community? How many grocery stores are in your community? Right, like, we're not competing for the same people. My prices might be one thing that are not going to be attractive to another client, where somebody else's might meet them where they are. Right, like, I don't believe that we are competing from that landscape. And I think when we get stuck in, well, this is what my competitor is doing. Well, great. Well, what do you do different than them? How do you show up different? How are you showing up different on social media? How are you showing up in person? The decorations in your office, your storefront, like, everything about you is going to be different than who you assume your competitor is. So I own a scuba diving shop as one of my other businesses, scuba diving shop and swim school. I hope that guy in my town never ever goes out of business. He's great. He's a really great teacher, but people don't like him. He's very brash. He's very, we hear a lot of things. And I just hope he never goes out of business, because he attracts one kind of client, and he also repels my clients, right? So we're not competing. We're all trying to create a larger scuba community, but we're attracting different people. So we're not taking away from each other. Just like you're not gonna take away from whoever else is doing your thing. So don't get caught up if other photographers are commenting on posts, or other people who are doing what you're doing are trying to seek out clients, because you are going to attract the people who belong in your business, and you're gonna repel the ones who don't. And so that is why I just don't think competitive landscape, in my opinion, is a real thing, because I think we're all so unique in what we do and what we offer that you're gonna attract the right people who are for you.
Yeah, I cannot even agree more with Tracy, because when I first opened my skincare business, and was in 2007, I did not do any analysis. I had no idea who was around me. And then I realized, probably a year later, I was literally right around the corner from the biggest spa in Arizona. And not to say anything negative about them, but we've been in business for 18 years, and they're actually out of business. It doesn't mean we're better, but there's something that created community around us.
I think it does actually what it
So I mean, it could be they just got too big of a space, and they didn't, I don't know. It's not the point. But my point is, don't let other businesses to intimidate you, because you just do your things. You love what you do, and people come to you, and exactly as Tracy said, you'll get your tribe.
Well, and that also kind of ties into what I was saying earlier today, just about like owning your own voice, owning your own origin story. I don't know if you've ever heard the idea that your authenticity is like the highest frequency, even higher than peace, joy, love. Authenticity is actually the top. And I believe that. I mean, I don't know if I have any facts or science to back that up, but just as a general concept, it makes sense to me. I relate to people when I feel like they're just being themselves, even if they're different than me, even if we believe things differently. I'm much more likely to connect with them and just say, hey, this is someone I can trust, because they're just being them. They're really just not, like, they're not trying to, manipulate or contort. And I think when you get really competitive, sometimes that happens, right? You're so focused on somebody next to you and what they do better than you or different than you that you then try to like manipulate yourself into something that you're not. But at the same time, like the things that make you unique are exactly what you're saying, going to attract the clients that you actually want to work with. Like if I just try to pretend that I'm someone who doesn't dress like this all the time, you know, then I'm just more likely to, you know, attract people that, again, also like have their unique style, right? So it's like someone who has their own unique style is going to feel more comfortable, you know, working with me versus someone who's trying to have like the super perfect 9-to-5 polish look, which I just don't like. I get bored. So again, that's just my personality. And, you know, there's a lot of different types of personalities at our company that are, you know, much more serious than I am. So you have, you know, a wide range of people to choose from. If you know, I'm not your fit, that's totally fine. But I just think in general, authenticity makes people feel safer around you. They can trust you better.
It's also a mindset though, because when we're talking about competitors and competitor analysis, to be clear, it's not, you're not competing against other businesses, right? You're doing the same thing. You got to keep your brand and your authenticity. I think we can all agree on that. However, sometimes you want insights as to where you should put your money towards in the kind of marketing you want to try, right? Whether it be on TikTok, on socials, on billboards, on magazines, on prints, on wherever it is. Now, as long as you're authentic and yourself, I mean, that's going to drive your clients, and that should not change. However, it does provide really good insights. Trillion-dollar, billion-dollar companies prove that.
Next, how do you grow but not automate everything?
Why?
Why do you want it manually?
How do you automate what? How do you
Grow without automating everything.
You automate processes and systems. You don't automate yourself. You don't want to lose your voice, ever. Again, you want to stay very authentic and on brand. The conversations that we continue to have with a lot of businesses, whether it be enterprise or small, is everybody is very tired of the same thing over and over. It's a copy paste, and a lot of people are using the ChatGPT's copy paste and rephrase this, and then they plug it in, and it's the same thing over and over and over. People are losing their voices, and the human connection is something that everybody is now hungry for. It's kind of going back to the basics, going back to tradition. A lot of people are now saying, you know, I want to actually speak to a person. I'm so tired of it. The messages I'm getting on LinkedIn, is it automated or is it truly a person sending me this message? It's so much in question now because we automate those things, right? Especially when somebody like clicks on accept connection, then you come back in and then you're like, so nice to connect with you, you know, all this stuff. And it's like, well, you know, that person wasn't like waiting for you to accept, you know, their invite. But it's just become so much and so draining. And then the same thing with even socials. So we're expecting that. That's going to happen. But the connection, the storytelling, the originality, the talking about the real moments, the don't pretend, especially as a woman, that you can cook, clean, take care of all your kids, pick them up, never miss events, do business stuff and whatever, and you're perfectly fine. You're never burnt out, you're never tired, you sleep perfectly fine. Everything's great every single day of the week. But it's not realistic. The moments where you have that real authentic sort of like moment where you just let it all out, that's really when you get an outpour of so many people saying, yes, me too. Oh my God, you know, and people connect with you as a person, as a human. So yes, definitely automate the stuff. I mean, I'll preach that all day, but not yourself.
I say, don't confuse automation with digitizing or using AI. Like my wellness company, for example, the second we get a new guest that comes into our studio, they sign up, they also get a handwritten letter from our team welcoming them to our studio. It's automatic. We see it, automatically it goes onto our to-do list. The second that somebody comes on, it's now a checklist item for our team to send out a handwritten letter. I'm not asking a robot, I'm not using one of the, handwritten.com, I'm not using those to write my letters. I'm not automating it in an electronic sense. I'm automating it that I'm putting it on a task list automatically through a system that my team then sees, and they go and check that box when they are on that shift, and they're putting a physical stamp and physically writing out this note. So somebody new comes in, we automatically send them a letter. Like, if you haven't read Will Guidara's Unreasonable Hospitality, pick it up and read it. It talks about automating all of the things in your business, but it's all talking about physical automation. It's when this happens, we do X, Y, and Z. That's automatic. So it doesn't mean that a robot has to do it, or AI has to do it, or that, Go High Level is automatically, automating everything that you're doing, but you can have things that automatically happen when X, Y, or Z occurs. It's Will Guidara is the author, and it's called Unreasonable Hospitality. Yeah.
Okay, one more question that I have here is, looking to grow, how do I decide what to focus on first? Expanding my service or team?
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna jump in here because this is just like all over here. I would say actually shrink what you are offering. I would scale back very, very narrow and be very, very defined in what you are offering. I would make the one thing be absolutely excellent, and I would sell just that, and make sure that you know how it gets delivered, what result it gets, and that you can continue to produce that exact same result every single time. It is not until then that I would even look at expanding into multiple services. Again, you guys are all brilliant. Every lady up here, everyone in this audience, the rest of the sponsors, we can do so many things, right? This is how we get bogged down doing our own marketing and sales and all these other things. And I can do this for this client, and I can do this, and I can help you here. We want to serve people. We want to give so badly that we start doing all of these things and it waters down what we do. Narrow your service, narrow your offering, and become very, very clear in what that result that you're selling is. And then, when you can repeat that with excellence over and over and over, grow the team that can also repeat that same thing. That's how you're gonna grow. Narrow, not wide.
I'm not gonna cough right above again, but I will say just in general, what has helped me the most with climbing the ladders that I have, in pageantry, not only Miss Utah, but then Miss Ireland, and then running the pageant. I left for my own reason, just because I honestly found the industry very toxic once I was at the top of it. But I will say, the way in which I did that was grabbing little rungs of credibility along the way. You can always help somebody who's 2 steps behind you, right? So even if you don't have everything figured out in your business, you have a few more things figured out than the person who's going to be paying you. And so I would say that's really what I did. I invested a lot into, my brand. I invested a lot into getting, my skills at a high level. And just those little rungs of credibility always help you with the next thing you're launching and doing.
Sorry, I think they agree. Yeah, so cute. Such great information from all of you. I'm going to open it up to you in the events that some of you didn't get to submit a question or have a question that has come up since. If anyone has a question to ask these ladies before wrapping up our panel.
This is the cutest thing I've ever
I'm sorry. I think she knows that she's not supposed to be doing that, but she's picked it up. So I apologize. Thank you all so much for coming. And if you haven't yet spoken to everybody, we are still here for a little bit of time. Come around, speak to everybody. We are doing one more raffle. I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't yet, put your card into the box. I'll give you, 2 minutes to do that, and then we'll do that last raffle. And again, thank you all for coming. It means so much.
Thank you for putting on such a great event.
Thank you so much, and thank all of you for coming and making this event such a wonderful finance.
Thank you.
Yes, so I am a field marketer. Yes, and so mine.
Thanksgiving, it's publishing it on Thanksgiving Day.